kurudi katika karibu na mito 17 ya Nairobi. Na pia tuseme kwamba tunaomba ufadhili zaidi kwa kutoka nchi za kigeni. Tunashukuru kwamba sasa hivi tumepatiwa chakula na vifaa vingine tani 80 kutoka kule Uarabuni, kule Dubai, UAE, na tunaomba wengine waweze kutunga mkono kama serikali na pia wa Kenya.
Mwaura reported that one case of cholera was in Tana River and other additional reports of diarrhea cases in Marsabit County. Mwaura called for travel advisories being issued to be ignored, saying the country is safe for tourism.
Are subsiding and travel advisories requesting tourists from not to visit should be ignored. Kenya remains safe for tourists. Hakuna.
Brian Amwai, Lookuptv, Nairobi.
Let's move on now. The death toll from the Mayumayu flash floods has risen to 58. It being a week since the tragedy happened, at least 30 people are still missing, with the national government and county government relocating those affected from Negia Secondary School to rented homes paid by the government.
We are now moving our displaced persons or people from this facility to another facility about 10 minutes away from here. And the reason being, as you can see, we are in a school, so eventually the school will need its facilities to get ready for the kids to come back to school. But what we have done, we have split. We had about 304 displaced people, and which were about 90 households. So what we have done, we have split it into two groups. There were those before the water, the flooding, were renting the homes they were in. So those ones have agreed that we have helped them. We have come together, helped them with rent for 3 months. Our death toll is now at 58. Initially it was 55, became 56 for a reason there. Now we have the 2, so we have 58 confirmed dead. We still have 32 missing, but obviously when the 2 are identified, perhaps the number will reduce to maybe about 30. And what is now happening is a lot of the areas that we had thought were probably safer are no longer very safe. So what we are doing in combined effort with those mapped areas, with our administration, led by our county commissioner, the chiefs, the DOs and all that, is making sure that those people, those families in areas that are not safe are being asked to move to safer areas, because we do not want to have this sort of a tragedy again, and especially when we all know what can happen out of that kind of a disaster.
Mvua bado inaendelea na tunaogopa. Kuna damu iko pale, kuna pale Magina, pale Matches. Tunaambia watu wajichunge kwa sababu hiyo ikivunja bado itakuja area hii. Kwa hivyo ni vizuri watu wajichunge. Kiona serikali, msemo wa serikali ni kwamba hata hakuna shule.
Still on floods watch in the country. Now, in response of the ongoing heavy rains in the country, the Kerio Valley Development Authority, KVDA, has banned fishing at Takwal in Turkana County, especially in the evening and night hours due to the strong waves being experienced at the dam. The authority that manages the dam, while issuing the advisory concerning floods, clarified that water levels in the dam were still low. It will take time for it to overflow.
Deputy County Commissioner Wycliffe Munanda with a team from the county government inspected Takwel Dam, noting that amid the ongoing heavy rains, the dam poses a great risk to locals, cautioning residents staying in lowland areas to move to safer places and avoid crossing overflowing rivers.
The country is experiencing heavy rains currently, leading to devastating floods. And for the KVD region, we are monitoring a number of dams. One of them is Takwel Dam, and we are happy to report that we are not yet at alarming levels. So we still cautioning Kenyans that the rains have just started and flooding is likely to increase. So we take precautions and possibly move to safe areas as government has already guided.
Elsewhere, over 1,200 in Meriti area, Isiolo County, have been displaced by flood waters following a heavy downpour that has caused the Wasonyiro River to break its banks. Isiolo Governor Abdi Guyo and the Member of Parliament Isiolo Mumina Bonaya visited the area to ascertain the extent of destruction, urging residents to move to higher grounds, adding that concerted efforts by both the government and development partners are required in order to effectively alleviate the situation.
Tumekuja kuona nusu ya town ya Marti imekuwa submerged. Wananchi wamepoteza mali mingi sana, manyumba imeharibika, mimea yote imeharibika. Pia ningependa kuambia wananchi wa Marti, kwa sababu hii mvua inasemekana itaenda mpaka mwezi wa 7, watu ambao wanaishi karibu na mto hii wa Sonyiro waweze kuangalia, wakue macho. Mvua ikinyesha wasikae hapo, watoke waende mahali ambaye iko juu na mvua ifiki.
And this requires concerted effort from all levels of government and non-government organization. So it's a disaster that needs to be managed through a collective responsibility.
A group of youths have slammed the government for being irresponsible in handling the flood disaster in the country, considering that the government allocated funds for disaster preparedness in Bungoma County led by Robert Juma. The group has called on all sectors in the country to prioritize mitigating the effects of climatic change in the country.
On the issues of floods, one, I think the government needs to be proactive as opposed to reactive. When you look at the initial Weather Month report a few months back, they mentioned about the El Nino and funds were allocated. However, when that did not happen at that time, these funds, we don't know where they went to, we don't know how they were used. So I think it's high time that government becomes more proactive as opposed to reactive.
Maureen Bosire, Lookuptv.
Let's move on then. Now, in the wake of raging floods, many educational institutions and children's homes in Nairobi are grappling with the aftermath of devastating floods. Among those affected is Soul Mercy Children's Home in Kariobangi South, where flood waters have wreaked havoc on their facilities, destroying books, shelters, and school equipment.
Kariobangi area of Nairobi. This is the situation at Soul Mercy's Children's Home following the heavy downpour continuing to wreak havoc across the country. During our visit to the Soul Mercy Children's Home, it is evident that residents here are facing dire circumstances. Blankets and mattresses lay soaked and efforts were underway to salvage whatever remained.
Tangu mvua uanze kunyesha tarehe 23 haijakoma kunyesha kila siku. Imekuwa ikinyesha inaingia domu zetu. Watoto wetu tunawatoa usiku, tatulali tunakaanga, ikianza tu tunafikiria vile tutafanya, kwa sababu domu zetu zinajaa maji zote mbili. Ofisi zetu zimejaa maji, vitabu zote zile tulipewa donation zimeharibika zote, materials zimeharibika, mablanketi ukiziangalia tunaanika hazikauki. Chakula tulikuwa nayo kidogo ikaharibikia kwa stone, kwa sababu nyumba ilikuwa ikinyesha juu na chini. So tunaomba wahisani wema watukumbuke ili tuweze tukirudi shule tupate vitabu ya watoto wetu kusoma nazo. Lockers zilienda na maji, vitu za lab zilikuwa kwa makabati ndani, lakini vile zilitoka kwa makabati na zikaenda na maji hatujui, tulikutana nazo nje.
The founder Mary Maloba expressed gratitude to Nairobi Governor for providing cooked meals which have been crucial for their survival in the recent times.
Shukuru Mungu kwa sababu ya Sakaja wakati huu. Tangu siku ya Jumatatu tumekuwa tukikula kwa Sakaja. Anaitumana, tunaenda na do, tunachukua chakula, tunakula lunch na sapa. Toto wale wanastahili wako hapa ni 114 kutoka playgroup mpaka form 4 hapa ndani.
However, the challenges persist as they appeal for urgent assistance. With much of their belongings destroyed, the children's home is in desperate need for support from well wishers.
Kitanda tunatumia ni ya chuma, na ukiangalia vile maji iliingia, hiyo kitanda imerust. Mattress zingine hata kuanika ndio bado inatuletea shida. Store ikaingia maji. Unga ulikuwa unajaribu kutoka uisave, unakumbuka kuna watoto wako domu na fai pia save. Sasa unaacha tu unga iende na maji wa usave watoto uokoe maisha yao.
Martin Masharia, Lookuptv.
Let's move then to politics. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has urged political leaders in the Mount Kenya region to shun divisive politics and unite. Speaking at St. Mark New Committee Church in Kiambu County, Gachagua urged leaders to prioritize unity for the sake of development, pledging to convene a Kiambu leadership reconciliation meeting at his office in Karen to address any outstanding issues. Let's take a look.
Speaking during a church service and a fundraiser at St. Mark New Committee Church in Kiambu County, Gachagua has asked Mount Kenya leaders to focus on service delivery other than divisive politics.
It pains me a lot when I see our leaders tearing each other. It pains me. I want once more, I called the governor, I called the MPs, I called the MCAs, and I tried to put them together so that we have peace and we have development in this county. This county is very important to President William Ruto and I. It is this county that gave us the highest number of votes in the Mount Kenya.
Governor Kimani Wamatangi stressed the need of integrated unity for the sake of development and rallied all leaders in Mount Kenya to support DP Gachagua's unity efforts.
Your Excellency, let us be truthful. Because zile report za Auditor General zenye zimetolewa saa hizi ni zile za serikali zilipita. I am answering to the issues of zile serikali zilikuwa za kina Kabogo, serikali zilikuwa za kina Waititu, zilikuwa za kina...
Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah pledged support for Gachagua and the President in implementing UDA's manifesto, cautioning against divisive tribal politics, emphasizing the need of a unified voice.
The counties of Kiambu and Nairobi are leading our country in matters and accountability and misuse of public resources. That must come to an end, and I say that without any fear of contradiction, that we must bring to an end. When we point out those things, we don't point them out because we hate our governor or because we don't want to work with you, governor. We point them out because it is what we are elected to do.
Senator Dhangwa echoed Ichung'wah's sentiments and urged MCAs to exercise their oversight roles and fulfill their mandates. He expressed support for Gachagua as unifying force, particularly in Kiambu County and the whole of Mount Kenya region.
Mheshimiwa Rigiji, msema ukweli, mfiki mapema, wewe you are a uniting factor. Na nikisema wewe ni uniting factor, nipatiane tu hii mfano sababu tuko kwa kanisa, lazima tuongee ukweli.
John Matava, Lookuptv.
Nandi residents took to the streets to protest over poor state of roads, which they say has not been upgraded to bitumen despite promises from political class since 2017. And as Henry Mungai reports, security officers deployed to the region lobbed tear gas canisters to disperse the protesters to ease up traffic congestion.
Transport paralyzed in Nandi after following heavy protests by the Nandi residents. Angry protesters blocked the road due to the poor state of the Danger Chuswa road. Security officers lobbed tear gas canisters to disperse the angry protesters.
Kuna mama amezalia pale Chebil. Sababu hili barabara ndio limesalia ya kupitisha watu. Barabara la Amai lilivunjika jana usiku, hilo ndio limefanya sisi wote tumetoka.
Ukijaribu kuangalia barabara hii inaunganisha senders nyingi katika hapa katikati.
Protesters expressed their displeasure with the leaders who didn't heed to their needs of upgrading the standard of the road to bitumen.
Ndiye alikuwa hapa. Amekuja hapa mara tatu akilete basi ya Kombe. Akasema hii barabara inaundwa, akalete basi ya Kechire. Kiingereza mingi tu wametenga, sijio pesa wanatenga wanapeleka stokani. Sisi tunataka tujue hii barabara. Hii majani ya wadudu wanalipa mfanyikazi shilingi 6, tena wanakosa kupima hiyo chai. Inakosa kufika factory. Sisi tunataka tuulize faida hii chai inaenda wapi?
Tumehangaika, wamama tunabeba chai kutoka kwa mashamba mpaka kwa hii barabara ya lami ndio ichukuliwa na magari. Hata ukiangalia yenye inapita Kapsarusuri kwenda Kaptoroi bado ni mbaya. Ninauliza, wakati mnakuja kuomba hapa kura wakubwa wetu, mnaomba kwa amani. Mnatudanganya mtatuundia mabarabara, mtatusaidia. Mkishapata kura hatuwaoni.
Ndio. Henry Mungai, Lookuptv.
Finally then, the family of the late double world bronze winner Agnes Tirop have launched a special office under the Tirops Angels Foundation in Elgeyo Marakwet County that helps in reaching out to the victims of gender-based violence in the community. Viola Jepto, who is the founder of the Tirops Angels Foundation, whose motto is to unite, protect and promote, says it is time to end injustices and violence in the society, to create respect to both gender, urging those who undergo violence in society to come out.
Lowest. We had lost Agnes. We were seeking for answers as to why gender-based violence had to take Agnes away. And for all of us, we did not see the signs of gender-based when you looked at Agnes. She was a beautiful girl who smiled, and everywhere she went, she inspired everyone, and that's why we are still following on her footsteps to this day.
Hatuwezi kupoteza kina Agnes tena. Kaunti yetu iko katika kaunti 22 ambayo imewekwa the red alarm. Katika Kenya mzima, sisi tuko katika ile 22 counties ambayo ina bling red. Inasema hapa GBV ni hotspot.
Mtu anasema anakimbia Itena, hata akimbi. Amekuja kuuza madawa, which is also a GBV thing. Amekuja kushika mwingine, watu pretend hapa kama ni mabuana. Mabuana ya wapi? Hakuna mabuana, they've just come to destroy that talent.
GBV ni hotspot.
This is what Kimani Ichung'wah is talking about this morning. We're going to start like this. They're telling Raila Odinga to respect his chief campaigner. Well, what has Raila Odinga done? Raila Odinga said that even if you give Zakayo 10 years, it can't do anything to salvage Kenya's economy. And that raging attack last week has essentially gotten members of the Kenya Kwanza fraternity speaking. They're hitting him over this weekend. And we're going to talk about that this morning. I mean, the question that we're asking this morning is that Raila attack on Ruto, is the AU deal still on? Because Kalonzo Musyoka is speaking this morning as well. And this is what Kalonzo is saying, that, well, members of Kenya Kwanza should never use the AU deal to blackmail us. So according to them, they're going to talk, going to do whatever it is that they have to do. But one man is watching, if indeed it's true that the chief campaigner for one, Raila Odinga, is President Dr. William Ruto, is that deal for AU still on? We talk about that this morning, including the performance of majority of cabinet secretaries who've been put on the spot. Number one on that list is CS Nakumincha. Also on top of that, Murkomen and Moses Korea as well. The question this morning is the AU deal still on after that attack on Ruto from one Raila Odinga this morning. We're going to join by Eric Wagalo and Eric Mungai this morning as we delve deep into political conversations across the country. Online at Lookuptv, across all your social media platforms. I am Akiagasim, but the hashtag is a morning draft once we come back. If you want to have a proper outlook of the economy, then you have to speak to the wheels and gears of the integral businesses in the country.
And I want to be able to make the youths and everybody coming up in Kenya know that this is here locally.
Men and women in the thick of the bust of markets rising and falling, fighting to make their business decisions stick.
I've always lived in my career that I can never be late.
You need to train by yourself,
You need to practice by yourself. Then from there you can compose yourself and give kind of services like this.
On season 2 of the Captain's Arena, we seek the inside of the minds, predict the shift in the markets, get inspiration to start and make sense of it all.
Just watch what everybody else is doing and just make sure you're giving back to the society.
Oof. This is the Captain's Arena. Start your day with a workout routine, an exciting moment of exercise that is simple but powerful for your ultimate fitness. Build your strength, shape and body muscles with lunges, push-ups, squats, burpees, planks, dumbbells and more. Let's work out every Monday to Saturday from 6:30 a.m. on Fitness Zone, a one surefire way to attack your fitness regimen effectively.
As the night falls, we come to life to bring you a comprehensive broadcast from the numerous events happening across our 47 counties.
When it breaks, it matters, and each story is important.
If it's Thursday, join me, Nancy Lima, and my able panelists as we break down the law jargons and analyze the Constitution in a way only you can understand.
The news cycle never stops, neither does time. We cover each and every sector and present to you factual and accurate occurrences. This is where facts win the day. Join me,
Nancy Lima,
Ian Keitani, Tuesday, every Wednesday,
Thursday,
as from 9 p.m. on The Insight, only on Lookuptv.
Are you an SME looking for a media partner? Look no more, as Lookuptv got you covered for all your visibility and marketing needs. We at Lookuptv understand your business needs and want to work with you on your marketing journey, giving you solutions that will take you to the next level. Call us today on 0707 572 358 or send an email to sales@lookuptv.co.ke and kickstart this amazing journey. Welcome to Lookuptv, your official SME media partner.
Tuko hapa maeneo ya Kampi Nyasi, sehemu inaitwa Barwesa, kaunti inajulikana kama Baringo, na hapa ni Blessing Child Care Center. Tulikuja hapa mwaka uliopita, tukaona jinsi watoto wanavolala katika bweni. Tukasema we are gonna be back. Leo tumeleta chakula ya watoto, ile sanitary towels kwa wasichana wetu, lakini pia tumekuja na hundi. Wacha tuone vile wata react tukiwapatia a check of 200,000 Kenya shillings. Hawana habari, njoo cheki.
Nasikia kufurahi sana. Nashukuru Mungu Baba, nashukuru Loto. Sasa natangaza ya kwamba within 10 days tunaishi nyumba mzuri ambaye leo tumechengewa na Loto Kenya. Kongoi. Kongoi.
Yote ni kwa hisani ya Loto Foundation. All this is possible because you are with us. All this is possible because you are playing Lotto.
This morning, we talk about two issues, major issues that is. But I want us to begin like this. So, you do know very well that the Kenya Kwanza side has told us that the chief campaigner for one Raila Odinga is President Dr. William Ruto. In fact, the last warning that we got from Musalia Mudavadi is that no any other person, either from the ODM side or from the Kenya Kwanza side, should be speaking about the candidacy of one Raila Odinga, because currently as it is government property. But then how does this government property turn around and speak like this? So ladies and gentlemen, this morning I want us to listen in to the rant by one Raila Odinga and what he thinks are the failures of one President Dr. William Ruto. Let's take a look.
Wale jeshi yake ambao alichagua wale wote ni wezi. Kazi yao ni nini? Kazi yao ni nini? Kila mahali wakifungua wizi. Wakifungua wizi. Juzi walisema wanaleta mbolea. Sio walisema mbolea. Mbolea imekuja. Mbolea au mawe. Mbolea au mawe. Wanakuja kuuzia wananchi mawe ati mbolea bwana. Pumbavu sana. Si takataka hiyo. Sasa hao watu
I love Baba.
Is it?
I love Raila.
That's it?
Yeah.
Ragalo, it's not that easy because you really have a lot to do this morning. Anyway, the gentlemen are in the studio and we're going to talk about it then, making sense of the theory that indeed Raila Odinga's chief campaigner is one President Dr. William Ruto, PhD. Joining me this morning is Eric Ragalo and Eric Mungai. Let's make sense of it. Mr. Mungai, good morning, sir.
Good morning. I'm sad. I'm sad this morning.
Why?
That you can invite a man to your house, give them a place to sleep, give them a place to eat, show them your bedroom, show them around the compound, and what do they say? They call you takataka. Imagine. Well, let me start on a better note. Good morning to our viewers. I hope you're keeping safe and keeping well. Today is another good Monday. And let's see how the nation shapes up. Yes.
That's it.
But be mindful of inviting people to your house. Asante ya punda, asante ya teke ni mapunda. Asante ya punda ni mateke. Like that Machakos young man. What did he say?
You can actually summarize and say, hapo kula teke, kula punda.
Wewe unganisha iende. Ongeza yote iende ikienda.
It was good. Regalo.
Yeah.
How are you doing, sir?
Quite well.
Are you also angry this morning?
One thing I said is that Raila is going nowhere. Going nowhere for Raila meant you can't just tame Baba.
Yes.
You can't think that now that...
Ragalo, I'm getting, you can't start the show like this. I'm getting told that your mic has to be fixed again.
Thank you. Thank you, because thank you.
Someone else.
Thank you, because I felt for a moment that the way he's starting is on the wrong footing. And that is why I agree that the
microphone has to be fixed.
It has to be fixed. We have to do another take so that he says the right things to the right people.
That's it.
Otherwise, praising Baba in this morning.
That's it. Let's make sense of it. Bagala, I'll be coming back to you on that. Mr. Mungai, let's make sense of it. Musalia Mudavadi warned everybody that Raila Odinga is now a national project, is a national government project. In fact, he told Kenya Kwanza members, shut up, He told the ODM members, shut up. Now, every other time that you're speaking on Raila Odinga, you are essentially affecting his AU bid. So let it be guided. Every other thing that you say about it. Did he fail to inform Raila Odinga that you also now, every time you start up to speak, you can't speak like that because your chief campaigner might give up on you?
You know, Simba, I have pondered over this matter for a while. And I have always asked myself why Baba, despite being a strong candidate, does not win elections. And I think now the chickens are coming home to roost. I understand it clearly now. It's crystal clear that the man gets into a race to just sabotage himself. Like, I think that is in his DNA. It is, you know, the way you wire something, like the way you wire a bomb and you put a timer to it so that at the appointed time it explodes. I think that is Baba for you, and national and now to international politics. And I think Baba lives up to the maxim that, you know, a chameleon, despite what you do to it, will always change its color. And a leopard is known for its spots. I think what we Kenya Kwanza, or members of UDA, we were hoping that somewhat this leopard, we were going to wash its spots and somehow tame it into a cat. But I think the leopard is living up to its expectations. Last minute, just when you think Baba has got it on point, he finds a way of sabotaging himself. I mean, how do you abuse your chief campaigner? This is someone who's carrying you to every international forum.
Yes.
Even in the country, when they are heads of state, he's eating with the heads of state. This is a person who is fully campaigning for you. Then you go on a national platform and call the fellow takataka. This is your chief campaigner. Now remember, the person you are calling takataka, what's takataka in English? For the
Rubbish.
sake of the English.
Rubbish.
Rubbish, garbage. I think garbage is more
gibberish.
Is more weighty than rubbish.
Yeah.
This is your chief campaigner, for heaven's sake. Other presidents are watching the chief campaigner to hear what he's saying about you, and you're going to abuse your chief campaigner. Now I think I understand fully. In fact, I am no longer offended. I am at peace that Baba does not enter any election to win. He has a strategy, and a clear strategy, to lose. And I want to thank His Excellency the President. Maji ikizidi unga, ama unga ikizidi maji, whichever, you know, sometimes you accept.
Whichever comes first.
Yes, whichever comes first. Sometimes you accept that, you know, maybe the donkey was meant to carry you, but what is happening is that William has been carrying the donkey. I think it's time for him to let the donkey go.
45 seconds before I go to Regala this morning. This person that we're calling the chief campaigner is not come out to declare himself the chief campaigner. Are we giving him a responsibility that is not picked?
What quacks like a duck and walks like a duck most likely is a duck. Now, when William goes out of his way to introduce Raila to international heads of state, to African heads of state, when he introduces him to boardrooms here in the country, in essence, he's campaigning for him. But I saw the lawyer, his lawyer, Raila's lawyer, Paul Mwangi, saying that this job for Raila is not do or die. He can do away with it. It's not a must that he gets it. But Simba, I am aware that there was a meeting that was held between Rao and a certain Rabu Rauza. And I think it is the Rabu Rauza who has poisoned Rao's mind.
Yes. That's him. We'll be making sense of that headline that you're looking at right there on the Daily Nation of one Kalonzo Musyoka. It's sounding a warning this morning to the Kenya Kwanza side that you cannot use this AU bid to blackmail us. So we're going to hit you when a chance opens up. We're making sense of those headlines as well. Ragalo, finally, on this particular one, how would you hit your chief campaigner like that, Ragalo? Make it make sense.
Making sense, I said here, and to the viewers, Lookuptv viewers, there was sabotage brought about by my fellow friend Eric. He didn't want me to put my words clear. And it's good that the engineers in the station have made things better for me. And I can communicate to you, telling you guys that don't be worried. Like I had said some months back, Raila is going nowhere. And Raila will be with us. Even in 2027, Raila shall be there. And I want to put that at no point did William Ruto become the Raila campaigner. Raila is self-made. Raila is a friend to President of South Africa. Raila is a friend to many presidents. They know him. He's a friend to President of Zimbabwe. They know him. So Baba does not require introduction. Ruto requires introduction. Actually, Ruto is known right now because he's the president. Other than that, who cared anyway who he was? He was not known. He was not known at all. And right now it's just because he flies the flag. Baba's name is synonymous. And I said here once on TV, if you brought Ruto without the trampings of power, and you brought Raila, and you brought Uhuru Kenyatta, and took them to South Africa, you will know who is known than the other. Ruto will not have anyone to follow him. So saying that Ruto is assisting Baba, actually Baba can talk to anybody he wants. He is Baba, and I'm telling you, some of us know how much he is. If Ruto is breaking election promises to Wanjiko, why won't he break promises to Baba?
He's not.
He is. So going
Okay,
around at his talk, he is.
He's not.
If Ruto is not breaking promises, let me ask you a simple question, brother.
Purely on the basis of the campaign.
Yeah, I'm giving you this. I'm giving you the look-alike.
Yes.
If he's not breaking promises, where you come from? Do you have Wi-Fi in the market? Your local market at home in Nyamira. Do you have Wi-Fi?
No.
Then why don't you have Wi-Fi? It was election promise.
It's because the floods have carried away some of those posts.
Okay.
Mugia, you can't say that on national television.
It's true.
That guy's going to wait for you outside here.
That was a simple election promise. Okay?
Yes.
I don't want to talk to very expensive election promises.
Yes.
But that was the simplest election promise.
Yeah, but he's not broken
so
this
he
one.
Is.
He's not broken this one.
He's breaking election promise by saying
yes,
he'll want opposition to be stronger to check the government. So he wants Raila to leave so that he can do whatever he wants to do and nobody questions.
But Mother Karua will be there.
We want Raila here because Raila will check Ruto.
No, but Mother Karua will be
and he's breaking election.
Hold on, Ragalo. Your statement is a bit confusing this morning.
Absolutely, I agree.
One time you say he's breaking an election promise. Second time you say, well, he wants Raila Odinga to go.
That is a breaking election promise to Kenyans.
But Raila Ragalo, Raila Odinga has not come out to say, no, don't campaign for me. I'm gonna stay here. Not once.
Because he's never campaigned for Raila. He just comes and tells us, nilikuwa nimeenda huko nimeongea na wala watapigia Raila kura.
Yes.
Did he ever campaign for Raila?
When Musalia Mudavadi speaks and warns ODM members and Kenya Kwanza members that indeed you should now stop.
Musalia want to look good because he was in Bondo. When he was making that promise, he was in Bondo saying something is coming and nini. He was in Bondo. Right now, he is not in Bondo. Let him make the same statement. What are the effects, 7 effects of election breakage promises? Breaking election promises. 1, loss of trust. Do we trust Ruto anyway?
Yes.
Kenyans need to say. Negative perception. Do you have the positive perception that you had, whoever who voted Ruto then? Do you have the positive perception you used to have? You need to ask yourself. Reduced vote turnout. The Ruto team and the UDA are killing the election turnout of 2027. There will be no election turnout as much as we want because people will be disfranchised. Political backlash. When you kill election promises, what do you expect? Raila did what is normally is okay with someone who is killing election promises. You get a political backlash. You know very well the Wadosis and the rich people have built on water, what do we call it? On riverbanks. Let me call them riverbanks.
Yes.
And here you go to demolish houses for people in the ghetto, and those people in the ghetto, you've not given them a place to live, and it's written in the paper, in the due course, we'll be offering you a place to live. You demolished whatever they had. You have houses you've built in Ruiru. Why can't you take them there? 4 bedroom is 18 million, but it was for hustlers. So that hustler in Mabati there could have afforded that house. Then some people yap and yell at Raila and atpoteza watu wa Kibera. At least the Kibera person who was poor got a house, and we saw it. They got the houses. They were not sold for. They got the houses. Hizi unauza 18 million, mtu wa Mabatini wa Mathare aenda nunue nyumba 18 million. Wacha kutu enjoy bana. You know, we need to tell these people as it is. You need to get a political backlash. Unawabomolea manyumba na wala wameleta hiyo maji yote inaenda huko chini, uwabomolei huku juu. I'd rather support Uhuru. Alibomoa nyumba Timol tukiona. Ilikuwa imejengwa kwa mto Ngong River. Mali Ngong River inaingilia South Sea, Nairobi West South Sea. Alibomolewa hapo. You see? But hii ingine unaenda kubomolea tu kwa Mabatini. Those people Mabatini wanaenda kulala wapi? Cannot even afford a lodging for a night for the family before they jipanga tomorrow. Yet you're telling them we'll give you a house tomorrow. You wanted Raila to smile about it? There's a reggae song that says, do you want us to smile about? Do you want us to smile about it? Legislative challenges. When you have loss of breaking election promises, you have legislative challenges. Yes. That's why we have that M-Pesa thing where you ask for money and you're given for money through M-Pesa. Ilikuwa inaitwa sijui nini ya Hustler Fund. It never went through legislation. You unaileta kinyuma nyuma, unaleta Hustler Fund without legislation, haina CEO, haina mahali pesa yako unaweza endea. You cannot claim. I mean, tell me the office of Hustler. And it is a fund. Remember, a fund must have an allocation, an office. It has a CEO, nini. There is no office. It was amorphous. Is that not a legislative challenge? Is that not lying to Kenyans as saying you now wasaidia na wasaidi? The legislative challenges that came with housing. Unatunyang'anya pesa ujenge nyumba yenye haitusaidii, na wenye wanabomokewa na mamaji huwasaidii na unauza hizo nyumba. Yet you put legislation kunyang'anya pesa.
Yes.
And tukisema sisi ni wabaya.
Does it, Regalo, just yes. I don't know by the just hold on, Regalo.
Campaign failures.
Yes.
Those are campaign failures that
yes.
they did. So now, if Baba talks about the 7 things, because I was giving you the things that Baba is talking about.
Yes.
The 7 things, Baba is bad. So because Baba was being supported to go to AU, it was supposed to muzzle Baba's mouth, so that anything bad that is happening to any normal Kenya, Baba
yes.
will not talk. Because Baba is supposed to be getting an office with a salary, with a motorcade and everything. So Baba is so stupid. You know, Baba is so stupid that Wakenya wateseke anyamaze because anapewa gari, akona bodyguard, mshahara milioni 7. That is how stupid Baba is supposed to be. Kenya waumizwe, Baba awe mjinga, anyamaze because kuna kiti anapewa. Baba is supposed to be that stupid. And that's why Jesus was asked by the devil, nipanda mlima juu, hii mandhari yote ni yako, lakini unipigie magoti. That's what exactly Baba is being told. So shetani atunganganga, Yesu amepata mali.
Mungai.
Do you want to tell me?
Yes.
Baba should do that?
Are you saying Ruto is the devil tempting Raila?
If you did poetry.
Are you saying Ruto is the devil tempting Baba?
But what makes sense, Mungai, it's not as easy as you think, because now we have to dig deeper into it. You see what Regalo is coming from. Regalo is coming from the point that, well, I mean, if things are not working, I gotta speak. I'm not gonna keep quiet on it. But then, is Raila Odinga guided by the local politics that he gotta play now? Does he have to be smart about it? Can he use somebody else to talk about these things within this period that the government is fronting him as the AU Commission Chair candidate?
You know, when a bed bug is biting you in public, there is no shame in scratching.
Yeah, but that's how it's supposed to be. Yes.
And I highly suspect that something is biting Baba. That is why he's coming out in the open and scratching himself. You know, I think there is I think, sometimes when you enter into a deal and you agree, this is just hypothetical, okay?
Yes.
When you enter into a deal and agree that out of this deal I'll take 30%, and then out of the 30% you need to give me a deposit. Now, after you take the deposit, then you agree that after 1 month you give me the rest of the money. Then now it's 2 months and the fellow is not paying up, Sometimes you need to call the fellow out for what it is, na umkumbushe bwana kuna change yangu bado hujaleta. But that is hypothetical. It has nothing to do with Raila.
Guys, I've got here's the thing, you're gonna give an advisory every time you listen to Mungai. You have to listen in between the lines. That's it. Don't take every word that he says this morning on this show. Ladies and gentlemen, listen within the lines. Okay, continue, Mungai.
Yeah, so I mean, I respect Baba. I wouldn't say something adverse against him, such as the example I have given. So that is really not meant for Baba. But also, I have seen the opportunity that has been taken by the Azimio members as a result of the pronouncement by Baba.
Yes.
And I am shocked. I am wondering now, all of a sudden, Mother Karua has emerged. I will not speak ill against Kalonzo Musyoka, but I have also seen he has emerged. I have seen Kioni has also emerged. But let me put it this way. I think it's the things that Baba said, it is important for him to say them. The manner in which he said them, I do not think is becoming of a statesman. Because what will happen when he goes and faces challenges in the African Union? Will he start abusing Ramaphosa, calling him takataka? Will he start, when the MI3 is disturbing in DRC Congo, will he start calling them those names that he used against the president? When you enter certain realms, it behooves upon you to behave with decorum and to speak with decorum, because this will be the #1 diplomat for Africa. Now, the #1 diplomat for Africa, who, by the way, when he gets that seat, he will get it, don't worry. I suspect it's a teething problem. There's something this administration has not done for him. And I believe that is being worked on. But being #1 diplomat...
What is that? What is that, Mungai?
You will know, In my language, we say...
You can say it.
We say, what does that...
Let them come from the own.
Let it come from...
Let the words come from the own.
Simba, I'm a small man in these matters. When the big men are eating, I'm not invited to the table. But you see, the way you see the men behaving after they leave the house, you understand that these men have been eating, and you can see who has eaten more than the other. So you based on the body language, you can always tell that kuna deposit bado, kuna kitu kidogo imebaki tu ndio inaleta shida. And
have you changed to Swahili because then English?
No, sometimes English does not remove what we want to say correctly. Haitoi vizuri, so we must even resort to mother tongue sometimes. And I am a follower of Gachagua. I first think in mother tongue, then I speak in English. Okay? So I believe that being #1 diplomat, there is a language that should be accorded to a diplomat. Language like takataka. What else did he call him? He called him garbage.
Zakayo.
No, Zakayo William has accepted. So that one is not derogatory. No, he has accepted. No, it's true. The president accepted that his name now is William Arap Samuel Ruto Zakayo. He's already accepted. The only difference is that he's not short and he's not climbing any trees. That's the only. That's the cut the trees. So there's no tree to climb. So that at least that one
that is out of question now.
But there is a language. There is a diplomatic language that needs to be used when addressing issues. Despite how angry you might be, that kind of language should only be left to Kioni. Kioni is the only person who is allowed to speak that language and to act in behaviors that sometimes are unpalatable to the public, but we allow him to do so. As a family, you must accept that sometimes you have a child who behaves in a certain manner, the family feel ish, but you cannot disown them because they are part of the family. Now Raila should give such kind of things to Kioni. Sufuria carrying, speaking that kind of a language, that should be left to Kioni, not to Baba. You know, bad company corrupts good morals. It is as a result of Baba keeping bad company that is corrupting his good morals.
Does it?
I think he should stop moving around with Kioni. That is where the problem is coming from.
I mean, it makes sense. Again, but just make sense of it. Mungai is worried. Mungai is saying, well, no, he's got to say the things that he said. You got to say the things that he said are not bad. In fact, he was coming close to saying that whatever I said was truthful, Raila Odinga. But then Mungai has a problem with how he said it, the language that came from one Raila Odinga. And number two, the other question that I want you to address, how is it that it's only the hangers-on who have a problem with what Raila Odinga said? I mean, the president had an opportunity to address it this weekend. He did not address it this weekend. It's only the hangers-on who are really angry and worried about Raila Odinga's language against the president.
To me, Raila's language is a normal language. Raila is the president of the people. Or let me call it the people's president.
People want to hear takataka.
And people want to hear the language from Baba.
Takataka?
Takataka means all that they were doing was bullshit. Why would you come, demolish people's houses? You've not given them a place to go.
Yes.
If that is not takataka, what is it? It is raining. The rains are there day and night.
Yes.
It's been raining even today in Nairobi. The whole day yesterday it was drizzling, but today night it's really rained. Now someone demolished your house, Simba, yesterday at 3 p.m. If that is not takataka, what is it? And it's been raining the whole night. What is it? It's lack of better word, and anything that is garbage is garbage. Garbage in, garbage out. Which government was doing was garbage, was takataka. The houses you can give them. Machakos built houses. I'm giving opinions. Ruiru houses are done, zimeisha. Why can't you take them to Ruiru? Give them the 4-bedroom house that you are selling at 18 million. The 3-bedroom you are selling at 15 million. Machakos, the 4-bedroom you are selling at 15 million, which is cheaper than the Ruiru bedroom, 4-bedroom. Why don't you give them? See, you said they are hustlers' houses. Take them there. Tell them now. Because, and that's why I told you, look at the Kibera way. The houses were demolished in Kibera, they were built, and they were given to the same people. So you demolish their houses, what are you giving them? Of course, they are at the riverbank. We agree. You're demolishing them. We agree, it's fine, remove them. Why didn't you demolish the ones at Safaricom? Safaricom, whatever, at the river? Why are they still standing there? They're inside the river. The river has just reclaimed its former land. The Tanzanian minister said, there is no one being flooded. It's people who lived in the river. The river is taking their land back. So if that was the case, then start demolishing at the river. Why go to a poor person's house, yet you say you campaigned on the platform? And that's why I said, breaking election promises. You complained in the platform of hustler will have a good life. You leave the people with good houses that have taken over the land, the river land in Athi River, but you come hit people in Mukuru and still telling them, we are going to look for a place for you next week. So these people, you expect them to sleep hungry out in the cold, die of what you call hypothermia, die of chest problems, waiting for next week to get a house. Ushona ile kuchezwa mind. So is that not takataka? And I will repeat what Raila said. What is it? Look for a better word than for me. To me, that is gibberish.
It is insensitive, not takataka.
What if you used insensitive? Just
yes,
like Mungai is saying.
Insensitive.
Give me a language in Swahili for insensitive. Ni takataka. So the hangers on were having a free time. Look at Baba, what Baba said. Kila mtu akigeuka, corruption. Right now, the American embassy, people have taken their passports to American embassy. Ruto is supposed to be in America. I remember last year it was said mwezi wa tano will be going to America, is it? I think he's going either this month or next month. But now people have already taken their documents. What is happening? Anybody who is corrupt and having corrupting dealings, they are going to have a problem. They are going not to live with Ruto to US. It was in the paper. I'm not saying what is not there. It was in the paper.
Yes.
So what is happening? So was Baba saying what we don't know? How come someone is wearing a shoe that costs 300K? How come someone is wearing a 1 million watch? Okay, you can afford. But at what rocket science were you not affording that watch 3 months ago? You're affording it now. How come someone is wearing a miwani, what you call the dark goggles,
yes,
that cost 80K? Miwani ya 80K, bro. Belt ya $500,000.
Bro, belt hii mshipi. Kazi yake hata siku kushika titawezi anguke, inakwanga tu ya urembo. Most of the time trousers zetu zinashikanga kazi za muhindi azivangi belt, lakini zinashika.
Ndio.
Mavijana siku hizi hawangi belt. Hizi nguo zao matrao wanatengenezanga zinanga belt. But a belt, what about suspender? What about vest? If that's not corruption, what is it? Because you look, corruption not that you can tell someone has stolen. You can even see, Leo Simba, I know you, bro. Tomorrow you're driving a range. Hey Simba, I'll ask myself questions. I'm not saying you can't afford a range, but you understand, you can afford it. But at the rocket speed you are affording this range, it's questionable.
That's it.
So if it's not corruption, what is it? So tell me what Ruto government has done in 1 year and a half. What has it done? Tell me something Ruto amefanya in 1 year and a half. Yenye Kenya unaweza sema yenyewe Ruto amefanya. If doctors are not on strike even now, and we have floods, now people are supposed to be taken to hospital having asthma, blockages, lung issues. Right now it is cold. Wazes are having a trouble right now. Which hospital are being taken? Yet here, you want to reduce doctor's salary from 200 and something to 70. When they claim you return it back, we have 2 months of strike. Should we be having such a strike? And there's already a precedent that has been continuing. During my term as a president, hakutakuwa na strike. What is this? Breaking election promises. During my time, hustlers hawatakuwa naumia. What was that in Mukuru? Were you giving them alternative? There was no alternative. Where did they go with their small children? A kid died. Mtoto alikuwa nda, imagine mtoto wa miaka 5 na salvage katoi kake anafinyiliwa pale ndani. Yet you want us not to be happy. So baba should have kept quiet. Mtoto wa miaka 5 akikufa kwa rumbles, akienda kuchukua toy, akifinywa kwa toy, kwa rumbles. So mtoto wa miaka 5 si mkubwa sana baba atetee, because baba anapewa kiti ya AU anyamaze mpaka watoto wafinywe. Yes. Has the government talked about that kid? Have the government gone to see that kid? Ingekuwa ni opposition, ilikuwa kwa maandamano, mtoto amekufa, kiamapa ile kuongea wangeongea. Baba is destructive. You see people are dying. A small baby has died. Yes. Mtoto alikufa pale, si ati hatujui. Has the government talked? Wataenda kuzika mtoto, watalipa mamake ama babake, ama watamzalia mtoto mwingine? Can the government give back? I'm asking myself, what did they do? Was there a right way to move them, put them in a place, bomoa pale? Mtoto wa miaka 5 alifanya nini? The father was not around, the mother was not around. The father alikuwa ameenda kutafuta unga, mtoto akule, anarudi anapata mtoto amekufa. Raila should keep quiet because Raila is being paid, yes, to go to AU. Raila is the Jesus has been put on a cliff. He's being shown a whole Nairobi is going to be yours. Now, nyamaza. I'm telling you, Baba, if at all Baba will not be an AU chairman because of that, yes, one soul lost is too many. You know what? That one boy, and I want to be a medic today.
Yes.
If that boy was an adult today, one proper, and I'm going to use the medic language, please don't be offended.
Yes.
One ejaculation of a human man is around 30 million sperms. That one boy could have impregnated 30 million people and brought another generation. You killed a generation of 30 million people. What do you want to do? Baba keeps quiet. Kama hiyo ndio kitu mlikuwa mnapea baba, mtoto mnaua, baba achane na hiyo kiti.
The question that we're asking this morning is this. And if you can, Paul, then you can actually then show us the Daily Nation this morning on the front page of the Daily Nation. It's not only Baba who's speaking about this. Kalonzo Musyoka is speaking about it, if you can. There it is, that's the headline. Kalonzo Musyoka is saying this morning. Well, to Kenya Kwanza, do not use the AU bid to blackmail us. So here's the thing, you might be right that indeed somebody somewhere knows very well that indeed Kenya Kwanza, which is the government of the day, is really campaigning for one Raila Odinga, and Kalonzo Musyoka is recognizing that. But then he's saying, on top of that, don't use it to blackmail us. Do you feel that in some way the Kenya Kwanza government is using the AUB to blackmail the opposition? It's like, well, we're going to give you this. So
First let us agree that there is no opposition. Raila is opposition. The others are hangers on.
Oh, but that's the opposition.
The others are hangers on.
Yes.
First, let us define opposition. Yes. Opposition is Baba. The rest of them are hanging on Baba's coat. Okay? Mm-hmm. Now, once we define that, then we must now interrogate the conversations being peddled by the hangers on. The first question is this. When everything Baba said was happening, where was Kalonzo Musyoka? And this is it, Simba. This is why sometimes I admire Kalonzo, but at the same time I sort of feel pity for him. You know, power is not given to you. You grab it. Okay? Now, if you grab power, and you know very well that Baba, because remember, the first time when his bid was announced for AUC, the first people to complain was Kalonzo, Martha Karua, and Kioni. Why? Because they had not been consulted.
Yes.
When Baba was doing the press briefing together with Obasanjo, Karua was watching the TV just like other Kenyans, together with Kalonzo. Instead of them turning around and taking the mantle, they are still hanging on Baba's coat. And because their advisors don't tell them the truth, I have an obligation to tell them the truth. And what is the truth? The truth is, if any of them wants to become president, they must take the mantle of opposition now and run with it. Why? Kenyans need people to speak for them. They do. And that's correct. They need people to speak for them. So why do you have to wait for Baba to speak for you, yet you yourselves are part of the opposition? Why? What Kalonzo and the rest would have done, they would have called a press briefing earlier, or they would have been seen in Mukuru, they themselves going to oppose demolitions. Look, where was Kalonzo when demolitions were happening? If he cares so much about the people, he should have been on the ground, stopping that sunny excavator from bringing down. He should have stood in front of the sunny. Then Kenyans would have said, Then the same Kalonzo would have gone to Kilimani and pointed, this one is this house, this palatial apartment is built on a river. Come and bring down this one. Then Kenyans can say, this one now, it makes sense. He's stopping this one and he is highlighting this one. Then people can say, then we have metal in Kalonzo. But what does Kalonzo do? And I'm picking Kalonzo because to me, in terms of the hierarchy, he's the next best alternative. Those others are jokers. Okay? At least I pick Kalonzo because in the hierarchy, he appears like he can take it, you know?
Yes.
But where is Kalonzo? Where is Kalonzo? Must he wait for Baba to go and donate food? Then he appears to be aligning with what Baba is saying. Does Kalonzo know where Mathare is? Does Kalonzo know where Mukuru kwa Jenga is? Does Kalonzo know where all those slums where people's houses are being demolished? Does he know where they are? What does it take? What fuel would it take to travel to those places? How much would it cost him? Even if Kalonzo said, okay, and you know he has precedence. If he said, okay, I don't have money, which could be true because you know he's not been in government. So he says, okay, I don't have money. He has, one time he picked placard for what was it, before azimio, what was it, code, was it code? He picked a placard for code with pay bill. He has set precedents. He could have done it already and said, look, I am Kalonzo, I am your savior, I don't have resources. Please send money here towards people of Mukuru or people of Kayafa or people of Mathare, and we take materials to them. I would have contributed because those are fellow citizens. Yes, sir. But where is Kalonzo? He has to wait for Baba. He has to wait for Baba to say something. Then now he must come out and hog the newspaper. And that is why, in my opinion, Raila does not respect them. You know, Raila doesn't respect them. That is why he wakes up in the morning, does a deal with William on AUC, goes on TV with Ambassador, and the rest of the opposition, including some people here who represent opposition, and myself who are in government, we sit here, we watch TV together. I mean, that is why he disrespects them. Because he can tell these people, they don't have what it takes.
They will disrespect me.
Yeah. They don't have what it takes. You know, I don't know what to say about Kalonzo, to be honest.
But he's right, isn't it?
He's not right.
He's
just an opportunist.
He's an opportunist. How is it possible that Ruto himself are not spoken about this particular issue? He hasn't spoken about
Which issue is that?
Raila Odinga speaking badly about him. He had 3 days to respond. But it's only the hangers-on, the likes of Kimani Ichung'wah, who are heavily coming out to warn Raila Odinga to respect his chief campaigner. I mean, Ruto is not spoken. He had a chance to speak on it. Why is he not spoken on it?
You know, when you pass wind, yes, or when you fart, yes, the people around you are the ones
who complain.
Who complain. and feel uncomfortable. So that is why you see the likes of Ishongwa and others. They are feeling uncomfortable because someone has stepped on a skunk. So it's given. I mean, William does not. You know what? Let me tell you something.
I mean, if indeed the picture they are painting is ideal, that this is your chief campaigner, is walking with you every day, is campaigning for you. In fact, as Lookuptv, when we were doing reports last week, we did get a brief from State House that part of the reason as to why President William Ruto was out is to still continue pushing for Raila Odinga's AU bid. I mean, if indeed that is true, why would Raila Odinga turn around and abuse the president?
But you know, if that is true, but can I show you another angle?
Mungai, if that is true,
can I show you another angle?
What is the other angle?
The other angle is, you know, Baba has a constituency that needs to be inherited, and the constituency is feeling like Baba is leaving. So Baba has to whip up that community so that they see that Baba is still there. I can tell you,
not using his chief campaigner's name.
No. You know, sometimes, sometimes you know, politics is politics. You can abuse on one hand, and then in the evening you say, mkubwa, mimi sikuwa na ubaya. Lakini wewe ukumbuke nikienda AUC, mimi nakuachia hii watu, wewe usikuwe na wasiwasi.
Let me ask you.
Yes.
And that's why I'm telling you, this campaign is just a fake one. There's no campaign Ruto is doing for Raila.
Now listen to that theory, Mungai, because you have to come out
when so he was campaigning. How at what number was he campaigning in Tanzania? Because he's going to Tanzania campaigning for Raila ya kwanza, he's going ya pili campaigning for Raila, so now he's going ya tatu, which he was there the other day, leaving floods, creating havoc, but going to campaign for Raila the third time to the same president.
Yes.
Okay. To the same cabinet of Tanzania. So I'm wondering what campaign was taking there. Secondly, he went to Zimbabwe, talking to the president of Zimbabwe.
Yes.
To campaign for Raila in Zimbabwe. How many times is he going to campaign for Raila in Zimbabwe? He was in Zimbabwe. He went to Zimbabwe. He went to Zimbabwe again, the third time, to campaign for Raila. You know, even Ruto right now, he lives right now to Russia. He'll be going to campaign for Raila in Russia. That's what has been pegged. That's what has been pegged, that Ruto is campaigning for Raila. If Ruto lives now, even Museveni was here, but if Ruto, and even Raila and Museveni met in Uganda, plus Ruto, but should Ruto live for Kampala, Entebbe today, he will be going to campaign for Raila in Uganda, as if Museveni is to be reminded 100 times.
No, we have to remind him, he's an old man.
So already the East Africa went, and as East Africa, they presented Raila as their candidate. But Eastern Africa, Djibouti is there, and Somalia. There is Eastern. So Djibouti is there, and Somalia is there. So, and the Eastern Africa should be reminded. And East Africa should be kept reminded. So if you want to tell, I'm telling you, this is a hogwash campaign, is how many times? Oh, so Ruto will be going to Tanzania again. If he goes again, he's going to campaign for Raila. So Ruto is doing none other thing than Raila name everywhere he goes.
You know what they said about Ruto?
And remember, Raila has gone himself to Tanzania, talked to Suluhu. Raila has gone to South Africa himself. Raila has gone to Zimbabwe himself. He went to Ghana himself,
his own money.
Okay, so to campaign for himself.
With
but
his
now
own money.
The president will be going 100 times not to do any other business. Raila is moneyed, my friend. Do you think Raila has been campaigning using his own money? We are Baba's people. We sit tunachoteanga Raila naenda campaign. So if Raila will be living today and doesn't have money, mimi nitarushia mwingine atarushia, Baba will have money. So don't worry where Raila gets money.
Do I remind you why they called Ruto one of the best campaigners? If you do remember, he made several tours during his campaign period to the central part of Kenya, if you do remember.
To do what?
To campaign. So
now not to campaign.
It's been
to be given what we call hogwash stories. Right now, the central region is a walk.
But he won it.
They are so shocked.
He did win
Things are very bad there,
and
they are regretting. But what I'm even happy about, we are let them keep regretting. It is their own president. They need to sleep with it.
On the basis of that, him going separately and not once, more than once, to actually campaign for Raila Odinga, people will call it a very proper campaign strategy.
It is poor.
One that essentially won him the election.
It is poor. Like right now, if you ask me if I will vote Ruto, no, I can't, and I won't, and I will never. He doesn't need to campaign to me.
Do you recognize him?
But if you ask me if I will vote Kalonzo, I will say yes. If I'm given both, I'll vote Kalonzo. Reason? I can't vote Ruto. So even if he campaigns to my head 100 times, it will not change. So let me tell you, already some people have made a decision. And the decision is there. So you want to tell me now Ruto will come to my house 100 times so that I change my mind?
It's proven it.
My friend,
is proven it.
Me, I cannot vote him.
In the last
I will not.
In the last election, when we looked at the areas that one President Dr. William Ruto had visited more than any other areas, when you look at how the blocks voted around that area,
so he went in Ukambani. Did he win? He went a lot of time.
Not as many. Not as many times as he visited the central part of the country.
Yeah, because it was an open place to be fought. It was nobody's area. So anywhere that were already a concluded decision, he couldn't win.
Do you recognize him as a successful campaigner, though?
No, he's not. If he's a successful campaigner, let him take Nyanza Luo from Raila. That one now, I will typically say Ruto ni noma if he takes Nyanza Luo from Raila.
Do you take Raila as a successful failure?
Yeah, he's a successful winner because he's always been there. He's never lost. He's always been there. I'll give you an example. People who have been with Raila, who lost, they perished. You lose, you perish. You lose, you perish. Even those people who won, they won and finished and perished. Same with Ruto. He will finish, he will go. But if Baba will still have strength beyond the time and age, he'll still be powerful.
You guys want to
You understand? So that's what I'm saying. If you are looking at winning, basically, Raila has won. Nobody has trampled the colossus of politics in Kenya. Even his father Jaramogi, wherever he sees, he says, my friend, from my loins, I brought a man.
Can you define winning?
It depends on your mind what you look at winning.
No, define winning.
In your mind, what do you take as winning?
No, define winning. Because wait, you cannot abuse our collective intelligence. First, by saying the Mount Kenya people are regretting. I come from Mount Kenya. I have no regrets. In fact, I am very happy when I see Ricky G. I feel happy and I feel I made the right decision. But you cannot insult our collective intelligence by saying that Baba is a perennial winner. What is the definition of winning?
It depends.
No, let us put it into context. It is true. To the extent that Baba vied for Member of Parliament for Kibera and won, I agree. He was Member of Parliament for Kibera, I agree. To the extent that Raila has ran for presidency in this country and lost, I also agree. Now, when he has lost successfully, can I then call him a winner?
Yes,
I mean, why would I want to massage? Why would I want to massage the ego of a man?
Let me give him an answer. For Kibaki to run away with Baba's win and Baba let it go, it's a win. Because Kibaki lost.
What do you mean he lost?
He lost.
Baba refused to concede.
Kibaki lost.
That is the ultimate.
Kibaki decided to go with it.
Here's the thing, Mr. Mungai. Let's finally make sense of this particular one, because we have a couple of issues I want us to look at this morning on the other side of the break in terms of the performance of the cabinet secretaries that are in President Dr. William Ruto's cabinet. And so how we make sense of this front? Please, finally then. The president has not spoken on it. And the true story is that the government is campaigning for one Raila Odinga. Has he stepped out of his code of conduct for a man who the government has extended an olive branch? I mean, by virtue of him being opposition leader, the government could have decided to say, well, we cannot support him for this.
I'll tell you one thing, and sometimes it is good to put politics aside and look at the merits of anything that is under discussion. And I say that as a Kenyan, I would feel very proud were Raila to clinch the AUC seat. I would feel very proud as a Kenyan. And I have said here time and again that as a Kenyan, I do not support Raila to be president here. Because I feel that his credentials and his track record in terms of democracy are enough to make him not just a Kenyan statesman, but an African statesman. And sometimes you grow outside your breeches. Sometimes you grow and become so big beyond that which people want to box you in. The people of Luo Nyanza cannot imagine themselves without Raila. But the people of Kenya cannot fathom, the people of Kenya are pleading with the people of Luo Nyanza to let Raila go. To let Raila go. The way Pharaoh and Moses, the way Moses was telling Pharaoh, please let our people go. That is what we plead with the people of Luo Nyanza. Release Raila. Let Raila go and become the African statesman, the African diplomat that he is. But in terms of meddling in internal affairs, I have told you, and I do not mince my words, and I, without any fear of contradiction, that Raila is not proper to lead this country. He's not fit. The things that this country are going through
don't need Raila.
Okay. Precisely. Okay. Those things don't need Raila.
Even a child dying in Mukuru don't need Raila.
Raila now is a man whose credentials befit him to lead the African continent.
But Kenya is in
because no. You see, I cannot sit here. I cannot sit here and demean Baba. I am one of the few people with a clean heart. I am one of the people with the purest of intentions.
Paul, if you can, please, can you put this particular statement side to side with what we had on the Daily Nation this morning, where Kalonzo is warning Kenya Kwanza members, well, do not blackmail us.
No. But I tell you, with the purest of intentions,
how are you going to remove
from the bottom of my heart?
How are you going to remove that statement from blackmail, where you're telling me, right here, you're not good, but outside there, which is a bigger scope than what we have here, you're better.
No, you see, if people keep praising me and saying, Mongai, you know, the way you are thinking and talking, the way we see it, you deserve to go back to primary school. Now, you see, that is an insult to me. Despite the fact that they are raining accolades, is actually an insult. And that is why I'm saying, asking Baba to come and run in Kenya is an insult to Baba himself. Why? Because the man has grown credentials. The man has a track record on democracy and democratic rights. The man has earned his stripes. And therefore, I beseech not just the people of Luo Nyanza, but the political leeches that benefit from Raila running and losing. I beg of them this morning on Lookuptv to let Baba go. To allow Baba to become the African statesman that Baba is supposed to be. But these people are keeping Baba here, knowing very well he's going to lose, so that they survive politically. There are people, I can tell you today, will have no career when Baba is away.
Brother.
Because there are people who hang on to the coat of Raila. And that is why even Kalonzo is happy. Mother Karua is happy when they hear Baba. You know why? Because behind the scenes they say, na ni kama hiyo kitu imechomeka, ni kama Baba ataenda hiyo kitu ya AC. So now, they are very happy.
Yes, Ragalo, just I'm going to give you the last 3 minutes on this because I'm going to pause for it. How many times have you voted for Raila Odinga?
Myself, since I started voting, 0.
Thank you.
0.
And that's a man. And that's a man you're recommending for Africa.
Look, I am not. Look here, I am not a hypocrite. I am a man who says it as it
Mugai,
is.
say that again.
I'm not a hypocrite. You have never seen a truthful man like Rigiji and myself. There are only two truthful men in this country, myself and Rigiji. And I have told you, I have voted for Raila 0 times. But if Raila appeared, if I were to vote, and I go to the booth, and I find that Raila's name is on the African continent, and Ruto's name, I'll vote Raila twice, and Ruto 0. But for the Kenyan one, I'll vote Ruto 3 times and Raila 0.
So you're in the group of people who want Raila Odinga off Kenyan politics?
No, I do not want him off Kenyan politics.
Want,
look, you don't understand.
What do you want, Mugai?
Either I'm not explaining myself correctly, or you are intellectually challenged. I am not sure which is which.
Please, Ragalo, you actually have a minute. Mugai is taken the entire period. He's used a lot of, I've never seen Mugai use a lot of energy just to get his point across. Please take a minute. We come back with you.
It's very good to lie. I have voted Raila 4 times, 7, 13, 17, and 22.
How many times have you voted?
4 times. Ruto, I will never vote him, Bwana. I'll never vote Ruto. It's no lie. So my vote there is 0. But I voted Kibaki in 22.
That's it.
I mean 202. So I voted at least I voted Kibaki and Raila. Him, obvious. The obvious is there. I wouldn't want Raila to be used so that Kenyans are hurt. Because for Cheruyot of Kericho and others who've made noise, they want Raila to keep quiet as they run riot. So Baba cannot be muzzled. The Baba I know, and the blood that runs in me is the same blood that runs in Raila. From the great Ramogi Ajwang, our forefather, we cannot keep quiet when Kenya is muzzled. So,
yes, 15 seconds.
If Raila has to lose the AU seat because of correcting a government, then let it go. If Raila has to lose it because of a kid that is killed by demolitions in Mukuru, and Raila calls it out, then let Raila leave it. But I ask myself, where is the government spokesman today? Has he talked about demolition and the death of the baby? That is supposed to be the work of Mwaura. Let's put Ruto out of it. Where is Mwaura giving statement how that kid died? I wanted to hear the machination and the lies of the government spokesman, because I have to create a thing. So why is the kid dying and nobody talks about it? I still insist. Eric Ragalo, and the Kenyans want to know, how did that baby happen to die in the demolition?
Ragalo, we leave it there. Once we come back, I'll be coming back with you on a different platform as well. Guess who's under siege? CS Linturi. But guess who is getting asked a lot of questions? There's a long list of CSs in the president's cabinet who Kenyans and majority of Azimio members of parliament feel they should go home. Once we come back, let's talk about that scorecard. Tifa released a poll last week and the president has been complaining. And funny enough, his statements are getting proven right. Once we come back right here on the Morning Drift. My name is Seba Elijah Charles. Here again, this is Lookuptv.
Save a Life is a non-profit organization that has taken the front line in transforming lives in the entire country. So far, we have transformed life of over 100,000 people through our programs, which include medical support, youth empowerment, street family program, feeding program, and climate change. Join us today as we transform lives. As we always say, service to humanity is service to God. Save a life, transforming lives.
Pindi tu taarifa zinapochipuka na kutufikia papa hapa kwenye makao makuu ya chumba cha habari cha runinga ya Lookup, kwenye taifa, kwenye serikali, kwenye bunge, tunajitosa hadi kwenye sauti ya wenyeji ili kupata tu maoni ya wenyeji kuhusu masuala haya yanayochipuka.
Maana hii kitu inaenda kuumiza Mkenya kwa tax.
Hakuna kitu tunafurahia. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Sisi tunaumia, si ati tunaumia ile ya kiukweli. Juu maisha ni ngumu.
Na bila shaka tunapata maoni yao ili sauti yao ipate kusikika. Na watasema hili, waseme lile, watasema hiki na waseme kile, almuradi sauti yao ipate taa.
Mambo ya mafuta tena imekuwa ni changamoto zaidi kwa kila mtu wa bodaboda.
Uchumi ikikuwa stable, tunaamini mambo itakuwa sawa sawa.
Kwanza liko na ria wasa wa boda, mama mboga nini. Hao sasa ndio wamefinywa zaidi man.
Mpenzi mtazamaji, hii ni bunge la wenyeji.
Are you a junior secondary school, a college, a TVET institution or a university and you want to advertise your intake? Book now and advertise with us today on both Lookuptv and all our digital platforms. Call us today. Or email us on sales@lookuptv.co.ke.
As the night falls, we come to life to bring you a comprehensive broadcast from the numerous events happening across our 47 counties.
When it breaks, it matters, and each story is important.
If it's Thursday, join me, Nancy Lima, and my able panelists as we break down the law jargons and analyze the Constitution in a way only you can understand.
The news cycle never stops, neither does time. We cover each and every sector and present to you factual and accurate occurrences. This is where facts win the day. Join me,
Nancy Lima,
Ian Keitani, Tuesday, every Wednesday,
Thursday,
as from 9 p.m. on The Insight, only on Lookuptv.
Start your day with a workout routine, an exciting moment of exercise that is simple but powerful for your ultimate fitness. Build your strength, shape and body muscles with lunges, push-ups, squats, burpees, planks, dumbbells and more. Let's work out every Monday to Saturday from 6:30 a.m. on Fitness Zone, a one surefire way to attack your fitness regimen effectively.
All right, welcome back to the Morning Drift. Thank you very much for being a part and parcel of our conversation this morning. Then let's chat the next couple of few minutes on our conversation this morning, which is an issue that has grabbed majority of Kenyans by and large. This is on the performance of cabinet secretaries. Majority of them this morning are on the Standard, and Paul, if you can then take us all the way to the Standard this morning, where we have names of cabinet secretaries that Kenyans are saying their performance is getting questioned. Now, TIFA released a poll last week that essentially indicated that the worst performing cabinet secretary, according to majority of Kenyans, is CS Mithika Linturi. And it's not just the Kenyans who are essentially thinking about this. It is members of parliament. 139 of them last week approved a motion that would essentially see, or that led to the formation of an 11-member committee that will listen into the impeachment case of one CS for agriculture, Mithika Linturi. Another CS who's come under fire is CS for health, Susan Nakumincha, all the way to Moses Kuria, Kipchumba Murkomen, and the rest of them. The line is long. Now, let's take a look at this story that essentially was done last week by John Matava, a TIFA poll result that indicates what Kenyans score majority of the CISs. Let's take a look.
More than 50% of Kenyans consider Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mithika Linturi most responsible for the dubious subsidized fertilizer under probe, thus posing a bottom grade of E. Following closely behind is the Minister of Water, Sanitation and Irrigation Zachary Njeru, earning a D- rating of 27%. The Ministry of Water, Sanitation and Irrigation CS Zachary Njeru shares his rating with Cabinet Secretary for the Minister of Industry, Trade and Enterprise Development, Rebecca Miano, with a scorecard of D plain. Florence Bore, the CS for Labor and Social Protection, also received a D- rating with 31% approval, while Energy and Petroleum CS Davis Chirichir obtained a similar rating with 33% of the votes. Transport Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen and Lands and Housing Cabinet Secretary Halis Waome managed a D+ rating. Meanwhile, Gender CS Aisha Jumwa, Environment and Forestry CS Soipan Tuya, Mining CS Salim Voria, Simon Chilegui Cabinet Secretary for Cooperatives Development, Alfred Mutua CS for Tourism and Wildlife, Susan Nahumiche Cabinet Secretary for Health, Juguna Ndungu Cabinet Secretary for Treasury, Penina Malonza all received a D plain rating. Linturi's poor rating comes amid mounting pressure on him. Recently, 110 MPs signed a petition calling him for dismissal over gross misconduct, mismanagement of resources and violation of the Constitution. John Matava, Lookuptv.
It doesn't end there, because then we're going to also play for you a story that we also covered last week, where members of parliament essentially approved that motion and voted 139 in favor to form an 11-member committee that has already started investigating all these corruption claims and incompetency claims that have been essentially thrown at one the CS Agriculture, Mithika Linturi. We're going to come back to that later. All right, now Paul, take us back to the Standard then this morning so we can look at those pictures side by side this morning with one Regalo and Mungai in the studio this morning. Good. And here they are then, as we look at them this morning, and the list is long. I would like to start like this this morning. Regalo, we have Susan Nakumincha, Health. We have Kipchumba Murkomen, Roads and Transport. We have Mithika Linturi, Agriculture. We have Ezekiel Machogu, Education. And we have Moses Kuria, Public Service. I mean, the top faces in this, isn't it? Regalo, is it by coincidence and we're talking about this morning, that if you look at all these cabinet secretaries, there's something that's going on in the ministry. If it's not a scandal, it is a failure of operations of sorts, it is questions of their conduct, or just how they go about running the ministries. Is it by coincidence?
Before I go fighting them, I'll go back to management. We saw what happened in the Ministry of Education last week. The other week it's last week on Sunday night. We have
you can say Monday morning.
Monday morning, because it was 1 a.m. Sunday. And we had prepared students and pupils for school. And you can see Kilimani Primary School just near us here. Kids were already in school in the morning of 7 a.m. there on Monday, only to be told that schools are not opening. Buses and matatus to carry, and vans that carry students and children to school were all over around town that morning, picking and dropping. So what happened? You can remember, we saw in the papers, not really in the paper, in social media, the Meru-bound matatu were returning fare back to students to go back home, which was good for them. But what was happening? It's all about decision making. And then there was a story that was milling around that decisions have to be made in State House before they make a what. And there was a story that Mashogu and others had requested that schools should not open. And actually, within that week, every person was asking a question. And there was a person who said, no, schools will continue as the same. There's a person who told us, parents, that you make prior arrangements on how to take your kids to school. You see the stories that were being told by the people in the government. One of them who told us that was Murkomen, that make prior arrangements. You know there are floods on how your kids will go to school. You can see what is happening in, what do you call this, this county, Tana River County. It's all water, flooded. So how can you make prior arrangement? Do they have helicopters? That's why I told you here, we have our trouble in this government. Anyway, to make matters short, there was an announcement that was made, which annoyed all Kenyans. We were told now, State House have sanctioned, students should not go to school. They sanctioned at 1 a.m. They had to call our normal news broadcaster. The guy is called who? Forgotten his name.
Hussein?
No. This guy who claims to be abducted, or was abducted by the former regime from his gate. He's from here, the Ndehu, I've forgotten his name. So anyway, he's from Kirinyaga, from Itumbi. Itumbi had to put it online, and everyone was now, Itumbi is talking about it. Even the government spokesman had not even put it on. That's why I'm asking, what's the function of the government spokesman? If we rate even the government spokesman, I'll rate him at E, because I have just asked, what is the government spokesman's story about the kid that was killed in Mukuru? Nothing. So even that one should have been the government spokesman first, putting it and talking about it. We should not be listening it from Itumbi. Itumbi is becoming the government spokesman for us than the real government spokesman. So anyway, so if that is the case, then Nahumincha, Murkomen and others, all the D holders and E are actually, they are situational, because they cannot make a decision unless it is sanctioned. And I gave it to Uhuru Kenyatta and Kibaki. And I told the story when some big people went to complain to Kibaki that Raila is bringing down their buildings. Kibaki kept quiet and asked them, how do I help? Because is he doing a wrong thing? Is the land not government? Everyone is saying yes. Then why? What is he doing in the land? Is it his own? No. What is he doing? He's creating a road. For what? To expand Nairobi and open Nairobi. Then what do you want? So those guys left State House shamelessly, not knowing what to do. And Raila went ahead, brought, and we are happy of the roads we see today. You understand? You remember Thika Road, Nakumatt Thika Road, when it was coming down, people could not believe. And that is how the government was working. You are given a job, you do it. In Uhuru's time, such things would not have reached Uhuru. It would have been cleared by former internal security minister, Help me the name. Is from
that is
from Kisii.
Matiang'i.
It would have been cleared between Matiang'i,
yes,
public service, labor.
Yes.
That committee that holds now, prepares kids to go to school, it would have had their own sitting, a mini cabinet sitting, make a decision. Don't present it to the cabinet itself that this is what you are thinking about opening of school. Then the cabinet will sanction, then it becomes a policy document that is coming out. We are going to close school for the next 2 weeks because of this. I mean, I would see that happening. And I was very happy of what was happening through Matiang'i's direction. But here now, everybody cannot work. They are shackled and they cannot do anything. So those D's actually show you how the government is performing. If you see a whole cabinet getting D, so what is the government if the government is not cabinet? Is the government not doing D? Do the minsk of all those D's you've seen by Tifa, then give it to the government, because that is what the government performance is like. About coming to now personal. Moses Kuria. I don't have a problem with Moses Kuria. Moses Kuria is a circumstance again. He overdoes his job, and many people want to cut him down. He's the only minister I know right now who cannot get direction, if there is any other. Moses Kuria will forget there was a direction. He does the way his head wants, and he is always reprimanded. I don't think Moses Kuria has a problem. Me, I don't know why Moses Kuria is in this paper. Trust me.
Is it because he's your friend?
No.
Are you trying to defend your friend? Because if you can't get direction,
I don't know.
If you can't get direction,
yeah, because he's a guy who will say what he thinks is right.
Yes,
but if you ask me Nahumincha, Nahumincha already we have an issue with him.
Just specifically on Moses Kuria, I mean, he's among the few cabinet secretaries who have been reshuffled. Just less than a year into his tenure in office, it was changed.
Yes.
And we do know very well that the reason as to why somebody will be changed from their docket is because you've got questions on their performance or their mastery.
What did Moses Kuria do wrong when he was working as in trade ministry? Actually, I didn't see any wrong. It's more social. It was more social than it was political, than it was economical.
Which is the performance of a cabinet secretary.
It was not. It was not his performance. It was formally social issues that Moses Kuria had performed, and the threats that he was creating in a political circle.
Yes.
So someone had to bring him to a lower ministry to tame him.
When countries essentially just say that we are not going to negotiate with that particular gentleman.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. It was more of that.
Performance.
When it was more of not performance.
Yes.
It was more of social.
When people refuse to work with you, when people refuse to work with a country based on the person that they have in our office.
It was more social.
Yes.
Trust me, it was not performance.
Yes.
It's more of something that you may not know.
Yes.
It was more social. It was not performance. Take it from me. It was not the performance of Moses Kuria. It's actually what Moses Kuria had done even before, when he was in Uhuru's government. That's what created all these stories you see here. But I will not tell you what he did. So he had to be left out to a minor ministry that he cannot also move around as much. So Ministry of Trade takes you all over the world anytime. He was hovering all over. So some of these people are ish because of his social doings initially, which you will come to know.
Yes.
But now, Nahumincha, first of all, we have questionable credentials and papers. Is she there rightfully? Like Linturi. Is Linturi there rightfully? We are waiting for the courts to decide. But some of these things that came out during a court case, we already know. So we are questioning his credential.
Yes.
If we are questioning his credential, we are also questioning his performance against the credential. So it's Nahumincha. So these two, whatever they get D and E, it is qualified. It is qualified. You get an E, like Linturi, it's qualified. You get an E because we already know you cannot work it out. Statistically, you cannot even understand statistics. So, to me, those two, they have already questions under their performance, under their papers, the school papers.
Yes.
That one is there. So, Kipchumba Murkomen and Machogu got a shoe from a very, very, very strong man. Sometime, when you take over a ministry that had a strong man, you're in trouble. There was a strong man here called Magoha. Magoha trampled on the Ministry of Education, flattened the arrogance that was there, the corruption and the innuendos that were there. Mashogu came there. I mean, it was too big for him to fit in. Mashogu has a problem now because from Mashogu we understood that he had to get clearance. So, and then the Minister of Education, we're having trouble.
Yes.
I mean, if Magoha, you are told when Magoha would go and have an office at the Kenya National Examination Council, he has an office there. He has an office in the ministry. He sits there. He looks at the papers leaving to go to exam. During my friend Magoha is when you got the least A that have ever been gotten. Then that is the time you could see now people pass the rightful way until you cannot even question their papers.
Yes.
Now we are back where now we are getting humongous A's. So it is a big issue. So you get if Ruto is serious, then remove Magoha, Machogu, bring former Minister of Education, then Minister of Internal Security, my friend Matiang'i. Then Education, and then give Matiang'i space to work. He should not come for direction from State House. Yes. And you will see. Then Murkomen communication.
Is it a communication issue?
Yeah, it's a communication issue.
Or purely performance?
If it is raining in JKIA, yes, it is not the making of Kipchumba. Trust me. The hapo nitamtetea. My friend hapa unajua natetea baba lakini anadanganyana. But mimi nakwambia ukweli, it's not the making of, but still I will put it because it was their government that built us that thing. Yes. So it is their government that brought the issue, but it was not Kipchumba bringing.
Yes. As we clear with you on Kipchumba, more comment. I mean, I'll point you out to last week. He did an interview at a local station, and he said, guys, the issues of Kenya, of the issues of power at JKIA are going to be a thing of the past. We've standardized it. You're not going to see blackouts. Just
I remember that.
That's
what I'm telling you. It is communication issue. He should have said, I have problem that I bequeathed or I took over. Yeah. And they are numerous. Some of them are this what you're seeing. I'm sorry, Kenyans, this is happening when I'm seated in this docket. Own it. You know, when you own something, Kenyans are very good. They will even help you to fix it. You will see someone writing an article that actually when you read it, it's actually an answer to your problem. I own it, Kenyans. If Kenyans have an idea of how I should do it, kindly, we have Facebook, we have Twitter, write it down. Do you see when Kibaki took over? What did Kibaki say? I've taken over nothing. Kindly, let's help one another. Kenyans started helping Kibaki to govern. Kenyans started even stopping corruption on their own. So when you give Kenyans to do it,
if you cannot communicate effectively, then you shouldn't be holding that position.
So that's what I'm saying. His problem, I'm giving you the answer of Murkomen, is communication. He got a place that was already not built well. I want you to do the parking of JKIA, the first floor parking in Gia too. You will see a crack running all the way. You've seen the crack. Actually, the fishers are like this and running. By the time you're parking, you're even thinking, guy. If that, what do we call it? That hurricane that is coming is called what?
Hadaya.
If Hadaya was to pass in JKIA, God forbid, izile maporomoko zitakuwa pale, that parking will go down because the crack is so huge. So we are asking, so you took over, yes. Help me how I should go. Do you want me to pomoa, I build it again? Let Kenyans tell you. But when you say things are happening, you say, si mimi, you don't say si wewe, ni mimi niko hapa, ndio hii mafuriko Kenyans, even though tulipewa, nataka tusaidiane. You see, Kenyans will not even have trouble with you. So this guy problem, by the way, you ask me what Murkomen has done, the guy can't just communicate. And he has a problem with his communication team. Hapo ndo sasa unafutanga communication team yako, uneka the right communication team.
But you are assuming he has one.
He should be having, every minister has a communication team. Bro.
No, these ones communicate on their own behalf. That is why Mungai is out here suffering.
I know.
Eating air burger.
By the now,
they communicate on their own behalf.
True. Now you see what I'm saying. Now Mungai should, I mean, if this government was serious, Murkomen should have gotten Mungai to assist because Mungai understand what I'm saying. Murkomen amekosea nini? Ni communication. Murkomen hajaleta pothole kwa barabara. Hajaharibu train. Jegai can't just communicate where problems are and tell Kenyans this is what you're working on. Kindly, hata nyinyi munapiga kelele, niandike. You know, let me tell you, see this Facebook, people look at it.
Yes.
You see this article people write on Facebook. Sometimes they call them bloggers. But do you know most of the answers are in blogging? Do you know a blogger can write something? You see this noise we make here because some people think we come here to make noise. Do you know what we talk also help the government to manage?
It does, doesn't it?
So sometimes let Kenyans help you. And if at all Kenyans, we would have, you see, let me give you an example.
Yes.
When Kibaki wanted to raise KRA outcome, revenue outcome, what did he tell Kenyans? I give it to you. Buy Kenya, jenga Kenya. Lipa ushuru, ni kujitegemea. Tulipeni ushuru. What started? People started engineering themselves into paying. Automatically tulitoka kwa 100 billion, tulichukua kwa Moi, tukaingia 400 billion in 1 year. Did Kibaki chapa us? No. What Ruto is doing now is wrong. He's forcing you into e-teams. People are doing corners on it. So will he make it? No, because he's not involving.
Mr. Mungai, something as well. I just want you to go through the entire list. I don't know where you have it, but I pass you this.
Yes, I have it.
Does that? Oh, you have it, isn't it? Okay. All the way from Susan Nakumincha to Moses Kuria. In what you might call peculiar, that if you start interrogating at the top of your head, Mr. Mungai, there's something going on there that is either making Kenyans talk or it's just not working out. All the way from CS Nakumincha to Moses Kuria, head of public
service. By the way, did they give Moses Kuria D?
Is that?
I don't understand.
First, let me say, I do not understand where the grading is coming from. The D minus, the E minus,
yes,
wherever the grading system.
Yeah.
Please, could you enlighten me who has graded?
So here's the thing. Kenyans were questions on this. Basically, the couple of metrics here, and I'm gonna.
No. Who questioned Kenyans?
TIFA.
Yes. The opinion poller.
Does
yes.
it?
And I cannot speak.
And I'm gonna read for you what the metrics are. It's basically on how well you know that particular ministry, communication as well, how that ministry is performing, how that particular ministry has helped you, how that particular ministry touches you and your life, whether indeed you feel the impact of the ministry in your day-to-day business, which is essentially the performance of the government. Does it?
Well, I would myself, I would give TIFA a D minus.
Without rating TIFA?
No, I'm rating TIFA now.
Okay, that's not the question.
I'm rating TIFA D minus.
That's not the question.
No,
you can't.
But let me go to the substance.
You can't set your own exam.
Simba, give me 5 seconds. Lookuptv have been so good to give Mungai a cup of coffee so that he can open his head and also he gets caffeine so that. But this guy is not taking coffee.
He's not taking coffee. But guy is completely set up his question.
To
don't get to your cabinet secretary.
So please,
lakini nyinyi mnasema TIFA ndio imerate ministers. And I'm
no,
saying
Kenyans who are rating ministers. Yeah.
You see, they asked Kenyans. I am a Kenyan.
And
as a Kenyan, I am saying I rate TIFA D minus. So I want us to be clear on that.
But that was
now,
not.
Having given them a rating of D minus,
it
tells me that they are below my intellectual endowment, so I can't discuss them. But what I can discuss is the performance of the ministers, with particular reference to how I myself have observed and heard from Kenyans. Okay, but I cannot discuss D minus people with D minus material. I mean, it's below my intellectual.
Could you give us a reason?
Yes. They are actually there are 5.
Does it?
Now, when John Buddy was in Parliament, he made a very passionate speech, and he said, "It's either we don't pass this thing, or we give Ruto his skunk." You recall that passionate appeal in the floor of the House.
Yeah.
But in my own wisdom, I imagine that when he was speaking of a skunk, he had someone in mind, not necessarily all the cabinet secretaries. And when I look at the list that has been presented by the Standard, and you know, sometimes you're allowed to use metaphor as a figure of speech, so that when I say someone is a skunk, I am not
necessarily calling them a skunk. I am attributing their behavior to that particular animal. When I look at the 5 cabinet secretaries, most of them, I agree, is a communication issue, but there is one that sticks out like a sore thumb, and that is the man of the moment, the man in the house, the bearded man who ostensibly or allegedly spent most of his time in the DCI explaining himself. The man from Meru who spent half of his time inciting the people of Meru to remove their governor. The man none other than the CS Mithika Linturi. I believe when Mbadi prophetically spoke, he must have spoke about this man. Why? I have seen Meru bloggers say that it is their man and the people of Meru are being targeted. It saddens me. It saddens me because I am a farmer. It saddens me because my folks are farmers. And they went and bought fertilizer and distributed fertilizer in form of donkey feces and stones. The man had the audacity to come to national television, and you know this is not even a communication issue now because he communicated himself. So you know we cannot blame at bloggers or whoever. And you could clearly tell the man was struggling and going into semantics, explaining the difference between fake and substandard. Yes. You know, he went into a bit of schooling us. But I believe this is a man whose time has come. And an idea whose time has come cannot be stopped. And the idea is that this man has to go. For the Ministry of Agriculture to give results to Kenyans, Linturi must go. For the Kenyans to derive value for their money which they pay for subsidized fertilizer, Linturi must go.
Another one, add another one.
For the Kenyan population to restore trust in their own government because they gave it money,
Linturi must go.
Linturi must go.
Don't add another one.
For the people of Meru to have peace so that Kawera Mwangaza can enjoy peace in Meru, Linturi must go. And I look forward to when the National Assembly will sit down and will say or vote for as many as have the opinion that Linturi be impeached. Say, I and my household shall be in my house, and at that solemn moment we shall stand and we shall say together with the members of the house, singing melodiously, I. And at that juncture we will all be happy that Mr. Mithika Linturi will have gone home. And that moment we shall join hands and sing Kumbaya, that the man has gone. Because the other cabinet secretaries who have been put on the paper, really it has nothing to do with them. It's just that, it's communication here and there. They are not able to explain themselves correctly. I mean, Kipchumba is here because, social media has been saying he's buying 2 million watches, which is okay if he has the money to buy. That is his problem. JKIA leaking roofs, that was the work of Macharia, not Kipchumba Murkomen. A generator going off. And sometimes when the gods conspire against you, Kipchumba went on national TV and explained that now they will have so much power in JKIA, they are going to sell to the national grid. Immediately he left the station, power went off in JKIA. So, sometimes you're just unlucky. Sometimes you're just unlucky. It has really nothing to do with you. If this house where we are today, if a contractor was given a job to construct these studios, if it's raining heavily and the studios start leaking and raining, we cannot ask management to fire you. You know, because Kenyans will start seeing the rain coming down, and they might imagine it's washing our sins.
Yes.
But you know, really, your viewers cannot turn against you, Simba, and say, you know, Simba should be fired from being an anchor because the Lookuptv is raining and the roof is leaking. I mean, it has nothing to do with you.
But if I'm in charge of the roof
But
now,
should you go out then and make some statements that make us question your sanity?
Yes.
Then we might say maybe you have had something to do with that roof.
And that's what he's doing.
So what is happening now is that the miscommunication, and you know, sometimes the challenge also of having politicians communicate is because they are living to popular opinion, and they have this longing to always be on the media. You know, that's sometimes the challenge with politicians. They want to hog the media space.
Yes.
Sometimes it's good to just sit back and observe as things unfold. And I believe that, you know, a person like Susan Nahumincha, I mean, I love this lady. Why would the Standard put this lady to be fired?
There's a reason for that.
Maybe they wanted me to frame this picture in my house. But what has you know, what does Susan have to do with
there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that as well. There's a reason for
management of doctor strike.
That's a management of the doctor strike. And Regalo, that's what I wanted to come to as well. And gentlemen, there's something that is also coming out from this as well in this divide.
And even now, my friend, what he said about doctors, public service, that they are just people who have finished cut. I mean, he knows these people are doctors. They have been They have graduated. In fact, how do you go to internship without graduation?
But gentlemen, there's something that I want us to look at on this medical injury story, because we want to come back to Susan Nakumincha and Moses Kuria as well, and I'll be telling you what majority of Kenyans are pointing out to this particular CS. It's not just on communication, but it's also on their view of public service, and I'll be asking you on that. All right, let's go back then last week to that particular time when members of parliament stood up in parliament and were giving views on why medical injury should be impeached or not be impeached. Come back and pick notes on it. Let's take a look.
Honorable members, I beseech you as your colleague, that let's listen to the suffering of the Kenyan people, of the Kenyan Wamboi, of the Kenyan Wanjeku, who cannot be here to speak. Please, for once, let's listen to them. It is not about parties. It is not, and I insist, it is not.
The results of the vote are as follows. Ayes 149. Order, the noes 36. Abstentions 3. The threshold required to carry the vote is 117. So the vote is carried. The ayes have it.
Order. Honorable Speaker, if you read through Standing Order 64 to 66 of our standing orders, you will realize that the Honorable Wamboka's motion falls flat and contra our standing orders and also the Constitution, Honorable Speaker. Has the mover of this motion, Honorable Jack Wamboka, created or shown us that nexus between the person being removed from office as cabinet secretary and the alleged grounds of removal? And the straight answer, Honorable Speaker, is none.
Honorable Speaker, the appointing authority, who is the President of the Republic of Kenya, should have taken the action, the most logical action, and fired Honorable Linturi. But because both Linturi and the President have failed to do what the Constitution requires them to do, this House has got a duty, therefore, under the Constitution.
That's that. You'd expect the majority of them would agree that Mithika Linturi has to go. But then when they stood up to speak, it's not all of them who actually agree that that it has to go. And you hear what Wananye is saying now, that indeed it's not just Linturi, but it's also the president who has failed the people of Kenya. Now, you gentlemen, you're talking about a communication problem. Let me just put it to you. Every other time that the president has spoken to speak about this fertilizer issue, he has gone on to accept that indeed there is bad, fake substandard fertilizer in the market, and even apologized to the farmers and actually ordered that any other farmer who had bought this fertilizer be reimbursed. But every time Mithika Linturi stands to speak, he says there is no fake fertilizer in the market. Any other person who's speaking like that is against development. On our basis, should have we seen the president vocal on it and actually speak publicly as to why members of parliament could have picked this motion to impeach him?
That's what I'm saying. Linturi does not understand even the constituent of a fertilizer.
Yes.
And I explained it here last time. You remember when I said the fertilizer that being given out,
yes,
the concentration is too high for the crops. It's actually a fertilizer for orchards, for trees. If you look at the gunia and the constituents of potassium, it was too high for our maize. It was a constituent for orchards. That makes it, first of all, fake. Because if you are giving food to a kid, there are foods you should not overfeed a kid with autism. They will be too erratic. So, of course, that food you'll be giving is right food, but fake. So, basically, that was wrong. Two, the fertilizer we saw all over, people washing fertilizer. When you wash, it was becoming changarawe, sand, and mawe. So, Baba was right to say ni mawe. And those are the things now Baba is being told anafanya makosa kusema ati asiende AU because amesema fertilizer ni mawe. You can see how people are. Now, about Linturi and the fertilizer issue, he went to media to fight another media person who had done investigation on it. The person who had communicated even to his office, even to the PA to his office. If you listen to that communique, and that time Linturi was actually in a media station, he goofed. He could not explain anything. He actually became mad with that guy and saying that guy is fixing him, he has been fixing him in other things. So you become personal because you realize you've done wrong. And it brings back the president to the situation I was talking about, breaking campaign promises. One of the campaign promises of one William Ruto was that in his tenure we will have yielding crops. We'll have farmers getting the right fertilizer for the right soil, yes, and we'll have yielding crops. This is a broken promise because the fertilizer people got was even wrong.
Yes.
It was even now expensive because you cannot buy a bag of sand at 2,500. Do you know how much you're supposed to add to buy a whole lorry of sand from Mukambani? Actually, sand from Mukambani at the area where sand inachotwa, lori moja ni 8,900. So you are only 6,000 down to buy a whole lorry ya sand. So it was more expensive because people are buying sand at 2,500 a gunia of sand. Is that not wrong? My friend here, Erica, said he's a farmer. What is going to happen to his soil? Altering the soil. So what is going to happen in the subsequent planting? Eric will not manage. He'll have to make the soil better by even buying a soil from somewhere to add in his farm. I mean, people have done that. It will make him expensive to reclaim back his farm to put anything. Then the fertilizer is necessary. So what have we done to Bungoma, Trans Nzoia, yes, and the North Rift, where the bread basket of our country is? What have we done to Limuru, where we get cabbages and carrots? What have we done to Nyahururu and Nyandarua, where we get a lot of waru? Yes, what have we done to Nyanza, where we get millet, sorghum, and sweet potato? When you look at every region, it has its importance in bringing food to the table. Mm-hmm. You've destroyed the meals of Kenyans. What will happen the next year? We'll have famine. Then the vicious circle starts. Another corruption of bringing maize from Mexico. We'll buy maize from Mexico that will come in a speed of 2 weeks, and we'll have very substandard maize. Just because Linturi has messed us up, then the vicious cycle will be very expensive, and our shilling will suffer because of our buying price, and some of these things will have to be expensive.
Yes.
And here we are keeping saying we want our life of Kenyans to be lessened, the burden to be lessened, while one person, Linturi, in a mistake that he's doing once, is going to affect everything. How does agriculture affect? It will affect transport. Agriculture affects education, because if kids are not eaten, they're going to be schooled by who? It will affect every sector. And here, people blogging in Meru say their community is being targeted. The question now I'm asking, if this is the election promise of one William Ruto, was William Ruto, when he was giving a job to Mutahi, when Uhuru gave a job to Mutahi Kagwe, could he have looked at a level of Mutahi Kagwe in Nahumincha? Was Magoha a level of Machogo? Is Linturi a level of Munya? So Uhuru was better and brighter when he brought us people who could give substance. Now we are getting people who are giving nothing. When my friend now, Moses Kuria, comes out and says, the doctors, we are talking about, just finished their cut, they are going for internship, just finished their cut. He's forgetting that for you to go for internship, you have to graduate. I mean, you have to have passed everything and finished university.
Yes.
So when you go for internship, it's actually a practical session for 1 year. You're actually a doctor, my friend. You're not going back for any other graduation.
Yes.
From there, you're going to the job to get your job. But communication, you see, before he bluffs, did he even think first? Now, Mincha's story I told you, it's all about higher education, credential, and 2. She said something that was not supposed to be said before she talked to State House. My hands are tied. Who tied her hands? That word alone gave her a D. It was solely communication. Who tied her hands? He should tell us. She should tell us who has tied her hands. So, which means you don't know what's happening. You're getting communication and you cannot do anything about it. That one, I told you, it's all about communication. So, my issue is, our government should let the ministers work.
Yes.
We want to see their potential. We yet to see their potential. Or else we'll have a government that had ministers who would say, no, nothing. Other than Moses Kuria. Actually, Moses Kuria is the only minister who can talk. Ata jishtue mwenyewe. Because sometimes we even ask, Moses amesema nini? You see, others cannot even talk anything. So the problem we are having here is more of breaking election promises. If election promises are kept withstandingly,
yes,
but for one must go. And me, I have 3 ministers who must go. Now Humincha must go because of her credentials. Because if her credentials are not right, then she's not, I mean, under chapter nini of integrity, she's not supposed to be there. Linturi must go. First, his credentials. Her papers were burnt. It's very easy to take them back and know if at all he really had a degree, he had papers or what have you. That alone, without even agriculture issue, he must go because we don't know him at all. Okay? Number 3, the person who must go is not even in this list. Is Bore. Is this Bore or what?
Bore?
Yes.
Labor.
Because if these people are striking, the doctor is striking.
Yes.
Do you know Labor has not talked? Labor is nowhere. They're employed by who, my friend? Ministry of Labor. When salaries are reduced from 200 and something to 70. So, did Ministry of Labor sanction this? Did they agree to it? Where are you? So someone just decided to keep quiet just to save face. But I'm pulling you out of it. Ministry of Labor, you should go because you are not helping Kenyans.
Mungai, let's begin like this. You say it's a communication problem. In fact, you said you do not understand why Susan Nakumincha isn't.
No, he said he's in love.
Yes, sir.
I love this lady. I don't know whether they wanted me to frame this picture.
Here's the thing. You said you don't understand why she's in this list. I'll begin like this, and I'll remind you what the Azimio coalition called out. They said, hold on, this strike that we're currently going on was not by surprise. She didn't wake up and then realize the doctors were on the street, that she had close to 2 years to keep on negotiating and turning things to avert this national disaster we're currently going through in the form of a doctor strike. And then you say about Moses Kuria, that majority of people have looked at Moses Kuria and they've said that he should conduct himself like a cabinet secretary. He weighs in on issues like a man who's not in touch with the reality of majority of citizens, all the way from, if you do remember, the drought in the country up to where we are right now, where he's talking about how he doesn't understand why somebody is coming for them to give them a job and they just graduated and they're interns, all the way to not seeking proper public opinion in wanting to change the contracts for civil servants to from permanent and pensionable to just contractual basis. On that alone, is it not okay that majority of Kenyans then will look at them and say, this one should go?
I think, before you add, I think, and I'm adding for him, maybe you can weigh in. I think Murkomen, I'm finding fault. I think Murkomen issue is coming when he went to, where do you call this, NTSA? Is it NTSA? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he
dismissed a job seeker.
Yeah, he dismissed
a job seeker as well.
That was too painful for people.
Would you say that's
shows he was so much out of touch with
that's it? Is it not conduct? When a CS speaks like Moses Kuria, he speaks like Murkomen, is it not conduct that you should conduct yourself like a cabinet secretary? Let's do that. For a man who speaks heavily about conduct, I mean, you started by hitting Raila Odinga on his conduct, on his words.
Things were not doing well.
As that?
He called the same guy and told him, by then to talk.
As that?
Because he realized, hey.
Mm-hmm. Kenyans don't like that.
You know, this country has two sets of standards.
Yes.
There are those who are touchable, and there are those who are untouchable. And the woe unto you if you fall into the category of touchables. And I'll explain to you by giving you an example.
Mm-hmm.
When Nancy Baraza, the besieged former Deputy Chief Justice, was in office, she pinched the nose
of a security guard
of a security guard in one of the malls.
Mm-hmm.
And the action of just pinching the nose of that security guard and asking her, do you know who I am? You know, it was enough to sack her. Matiang'i, in one of the scuffles at the airport, one of the guards insisted on frisking him.
Mm-hmm.
That guard, wherever he is, I don't know, he was thoroughly mistreated and that guard was fired. Okay? Two people, same government, different outcomes. Okay? Now, when you see these cabinet secretaries, the things Moses Kuria says on national TV,
yes,
were they to be said by another cabinet secretary, then the other cabinet secretary would be in trouble. Now, when we expect so much in terms of decorum from Moses Kuria, the question I would ask is this: are we new in Jerusalem? Are we discussing a Moses Kuria that we do not know? What is this Damascus movement that we expect of Moses? What is this change that we want Moses? Look, we've all known Moses. We've been there with Moses even when he was MP for Gatondo. Expecting anything different from Moses right now is expecting a fly to donate blood to you. I mean, it's impossible. We must accept that this is our Moses, this is the one we chose, this is our CS for public service, and that's him. His character notwithstanding. He might rub people the wrong way, but I think he says things
the right way.
The right way.
That's it. But hold on that basis alone. If majority of Kenyans find those things concerning, then why should we
be a majority?
What's that? This is a majority
You know
of
the
Kenyans.
challenge with this country, I'll tell you, Simba.
is always being seen to be politically correct,
Yes.
using politically correct language. Why haven't you this morning called for disqualification of Raila Odinga to the AUC seat, courtesy of saying takataka?
Yes.
But if Moses Kuria were to say the same, then we are asking for his impeachment.
Oh,
You see, that's why I said we are a country. But, and by the way, you know, those two of them are friends. And I said bad company corrupts good morals. I'm not sure who is corrupting.
Who's corrupting who in this
Who's
case?
corrupting who in this case? But the reality is, we expect nothing from Moses Kuria in terms of change of speaking and character.
As the conduct of a cabinet secretary appointed by the president to serve the people of Kenya, we've always said that when you speak to the people of Kenya, there is the empathy and sympathy that you should carry whenever you're addressing these issues of national importance. When you have a CS who rubbishes majority of Kenyan sentiments, is that not conduct on itself?
Is empathy saying civil servants are taking 1 trillion of the national budget?
It's in saying that
is empathy empathy
wait,
patience.
Yes.
Is empathy saying that the civil servants that we pay are not as productive? Are you aware that part of the civil servants who take the 1 trillion budget include policemen, traffic police, who once in a while will extort you? They include NTSA officials who will pluck out your number plates for no good reason. Does it occur to you that sometimes we pay civil servants to harass us as Kenyans? So when Moses Kuria tells them the truth and calls them out for what they are, what language are we expected to use? Because for a long time, people have not been telling the civil servants the truth. Someone must tell them the truth on our behalf. And telling people the truth does not necessarily call for good language.
It does.
Even full language is acceptable.
Within that force of civil service, there are those who are doing their job correctly as they should. That is not, it's not 100%
I do not disagree.
of them. So when you stand and say...
But those good ones have allowed the bad ones to spoil their name.
That's it. So when you stand and say, well, all those guys without jobs, get your certificates ready because I'm going to fire all these people. I mean, is that the language of a cabinet secretary?
No, that's good language. In fact, I wonder why he did not find even better words to embellish.
What, like taka-taka?
Perhaps.
Let's talk about CS Nakubincha.
What about her?
Now you want to hear defense.
I knew completely and avoided that particular question. Here's the thing.
A man in love.
Well, what about Susan?
Here's the question. Do you like the way that she handles the doctors' crisis in the country currently as it is?
Do I like the way she has handled doctors? As a person or as a CS?
As a cabinet secretary.
No, I've always said on this show that the challenge is not the health docket. The challenge is to pay the doctors must include treasury, who is Professor Njuguna Ndung'u.
Does it?
To pay the doctors, or rather to reduce their pay, is a preserve of the CS for labor docket.
Does it?
She should be the one standing for and on behalf of doctors.
Does
who is it now?
The lady Bore, isn't
Bore.
it?
It's Bore?
Yes.
Okay, Bore. Yes, so that should be the person getting the flag.
How's that? But
I think
I think even as you speak about that, I gotta remind you, and Ragalo is here, that there was a circular that was released when the doctors had started the negotiations that was signed against by the Ministry of Health, Labour and Treasury as well. That now in terms we are going to start earning 70,000 as the maximum amount of money. That she signed against it when she knew very well that that was a contentious issue that the doctors wanted to talk about.
No, if you notice carefully, Susan has been very amiable to the doctors, by the way. And I suspect, and I say I suspect because I have been observing the body language and everything that's been unfolding. Most of the press briefings, it's not her who does them. In fact, sometimes I suspect internally they say, where Susan usiende. Wacha, so you see Moses Kuria is the one talking. You see the head of public.
Up to a particular point, by the way.
You see the head of public service.
Yes.
If you look at her bites, in fact, if you look at most of the reporting, her bites are very few. I think even journalists struggle to get her bites in terms of what she says. Most of the communique is done by the head of public service. It's done by CS for public service and the doctors. She's she's rarely involved in terms of those. So I suspect her heart is in the right place. But also, you know, your heart could be in the right place, but in a very difficult environment. I think that's where she finds herself in. But I think in terms of her heart being with the doctors, I think the doctors couldn't have gotten a better CS than Susan.
Let me just the big check out is that with all those many words that guys used this morning, that her heart is in the right place, but she could be finding herself in a very difficult environment. That is somebody who's saying, well, she's not doing it, but then, you know, please do not fire her.
No, I don't know. People need to go soft on Susan. I don't know why, you know, rousers and detractors are being unleashed against this lady.
It's a thing.
She's doing her job well.
Ragallo, we've got 4 minutes left, and we're going to spend 2 minutes on you now. On this particular list here of cabinet secretaries, that indeed it's now back to the president. And do you suspect that indeed the president is behind these conversations around underperforming cabinet secretaries? Because we began the year when the president was saying, actually ended last year, sorry, when the president was saying that indeed to majority of you, I know more what goes on in your cabinet, your ministries, than you do. There's also another area that I want to talk about here. We know how these appointments go, that indeed these cabinet secretary positions are shared among 2 men. And if you indeed are going to look at it like that, then the ones who are currently under fire, most importantly, one CS Nakumincha, Mithika Linturi, might not essentially be direct appointments of one President, Dr. William Ruto, PhD. Take 2 minutes, so we give 2 minutes to Mungai to close.
I will tell you, without batting an eyelid, that I'm not happy if I don't see Bore here, and I'm not happy again if I don't see Minister for Finance here.
Yeah. Yes.
So when the shilling is suffering, why is the Minister for Finance not being questioned? How is he advising the government? Why are we trembling like this? Why is the dollar hurting us as such for 1.5 years?
Yes.
Or what's happening? So we are more socially looking at people, but you're not economically looking at who are the people to be fired and who are the people to take the baton. When you look at Nakumincha should go. I don't have any kind words about it. She should go. How she's handled this. And I want to ask Nakumincha, are you happy now that we have floods and doctors are out there and people are suffering?
Yes.
You are a pharmacist. Okay? You did diploma in pharmacy in KMTC. You know what happens in some of these things. You actually did some of these anatomies and whatever. You know what happens when we have such situations. We are going to have communicable diseases brought by water. When you saw water covering the whole of Mathare, what happens with the pit latrines in Mathare? They were all full. So where was the affluent? They were all on top of water.
Yes.
So what are we going to have in Mathare in future? We're going to have a very bad diseases in Mathare. So skin diseases, so on those what and what. So the doctors are not working. So where were people from Kijabe taken? Downhill as the water was going down. Which hospital the government were they taken for management? Which doctor did they find? So for that matter, Nakumincha must go. People who died there died because the government didn't want them to survive.
Yes.
Because if the doctors were there, some of them would have survived because would have gotten evacuated, gotten help. Some of them died who should have survived. So for that case, Nakumincha must go. That's why I said, if Baba is talking the language of a person hurting, then the people who are eating well in the government are saying Baba should not get a chairman seat. Then let it be. Because Baba is saying, why do this? That one, Nakumincha must go. Linturi must go. Bore should be here in this list.
Yes.
If you are to ask me, I will not have Moses Kuria in this list. I will not have Kipchumba Murkomen in this list. These guys don't just know what to communicate. But if you have to have people, 2 people, Bore and Njuguna, they should be in this list. One, the Kenya shilling. You told us stories, how we are going to be strong and you're on top of things. We are not even there. We are suffering right now. We can't even buy a phone Go and try buy a phone right now. Woe unto you that your phone can crash right now.
Yes.
The same phone you bought, you cannot afford it. My friend here is rich, he's using an iPhone. He can't afford this phone right now. How much he bought it today, it's going to around 80 to 100K. Initially, it was around 60, 50,000. That is how we've been affected. But Njuguna, to him, it is okay. So we need to sack some people, but not this group here. Out of this group, me, I'm sacking two.
That's it. Okay. 45 seconds a big so help us step out of the studio. That indeed, in one way or another, knowing what the president has always wanted to achieve, that his direct appointments might just be fine, and they're not in this list per se. And out of those that you've defended, you've said it's a communication problem. But the rest of those that he was given to appoint are the ones that are in problems right now.
Yes, I say that the biggest challenge with this government is the challenge of communication. The left hand does not know what the right hand is doing, and including even the government spokesperson. He also sometimes appears to be caught off guard.
Not also, he is. Just be honest.
Yes,
like now the tragedy of that baby.
He has 15 seconds.
Why didn't he talk?
Yes.
So I think there's need for a concerted effort
yes.
from the government quarters to communicate effectively. Lastly, as I wind up,
yes.
is to say yesterday I was in my Mahio, Kijabi, to assess the situation because I had lost a few relatives up there. And I can tell you the situation there is dire. The rains continue to pound heavily. Simba, I have never seen water bring a 10 tons rock. If you go there, you see a lot of rocks that were not there before. They came with the water.
So these things were only hitting houses and coming.
Hitting houses. And you look at an area where there were around 30 homes, and it looks like a field and a rocky place. All of them were swept off. There are family members that are still missing from.
Still missing.
Yes, still missing from that tragedy. And I want to commiserate, of course, with other families who are also mourning. There will be a memorial service on Thursday, led by His Excellency the President. If you go to that place, there is still a stench of death lingering in the air. You can actually, it stings your nostrils.
But you don't know where the bodies are.
But you don't know where the bodies are. But you can feel. So it was a tragedy, and I want to commiserate with those families and to request God's strength as they go through this uncertain period.
Pretty much. Guess what? The government saying that there are over 50 that are missing currently as it is here. Cannot trace them. So we do hope that you're staying safe. And even at this time when it continues to rain across the country, also try and make sure that indeed you heed to the messages that are coming off from the Met Department. That's it. Eric Ragalo, Eric Mungai, thank you very much for being a part and parcel of this particular broadcast, painfully as it is. All right, take them online and Lookuptv across all your social media platforms. I am at Kenya Gesemba. I'll see you tomorrow for another edition. Goodbye.